Hello, everyone. I think I might just not stream today, guys. Thank you very much, Baines, for the double biddies. Okay, let me just go from this top again here. First of all, welcome to the channel. Welcome to Spinning Goes here on the NickWalshTV channel. Second of all, Baines, thank you very much for the first 100 biddies. I'm going to read it again. Hear me out. I know you want Spraggy versus Nick, but I have an idea that's better than that. Best of 7 series, winner take all, Nick Walsh versus Spraggy versus Peace and Love in best of 7 Spin and Go matches. So, sorry to repeat myself. I know you didn't hear it the first time. Yes, I love this idea. I actually think that's the current idea that we're workshopping right now. The three of us will play a certain volume of Spin and Goes over a set amount of time, and then we will compare our results. We were thinking best of 3. And we were also thinking maybe like 400 games per session or per series or whatever. Yes, I love this idea, Baines. Thank you for the biddies. And also thank you for cheering me to announce the mute. The story behind the Strag shirt that I was trying to show you. This is the Chris Dragalis shirt. Shout out to Strag. Strag worked for PokerStars for over 20 years. And then I went on to say that I wasn't wearing this for charity. This shirt is intended to bamboozle the PokerStars Doom Switch bot that has currently been living in my house. I'm hoping that when the Doom Switch bot looks at me, they'll scan Strag's face, and it'll be like, "Run good, confirmed," and then we'll be good, and then we'll be all set for life. I am so tilted by the fact my microphone does this once in a while. I might be tilted enough just to like rage quit this stream right now, to be honest. I have done pretty well, I feel. I've done pretty well keeping my composure during what has been a very, very frustrating start to the year. I say start to the year. It's fucking 8 months in now. It's been a long year. The results have been frustrating, and I feel like we've kept our composure. We've even dug ourselves out of a bit of a hole here that we were in for a moment. EV-wise, at least, not financially. And I don't need shit like this in my life. And you guys know that going live while I'm on mute and then starting a stream, which would have been a perfect introduction, by the way, with my mic like this, it's just the most tilting thing in the world. It's like more tilting than poker. Anyway, Tom and Raksha, thank you for hanging out with me today. Thank you for looking after us in the chat, keeping us safe. Hello, John Edwards. How you doing? Ram Ranch Survivor says, Nick, I ran $3 to 30 on stars doing a spin and go. Then I did the big mistake of going into kickoffs and it went south. I think spin and go is the way to go. So Ram Ranch, let me tell you right now, as much as I think kickoffs are a lot of fun, you need Omega bankroll for those games. I would not be taking any shots at kickoffs. The way that you beat kickoffs is a lot of volume, and you have to have a huge bankroll because the swings are even worse than spinning goes. I think you can actually have a decent ROI, but you have to play a lot. And yeah, you're not winning one single run is not going to be enough. You also need to hit some big multipliers, which means you have to play a lot of volume on average. Anyway, thank you for everyone who's shouting at me, trying to get my attention while I'm muted. I'm feeling like we might do something else today. I'm like legitimately pissed off about the fact I was just muted. So I don't know if we should be playing poker today. Let's talk about this for a second. Anyway, Bane says my idea was basically 7 customized games where it's you you three versus each other, but I like the 400 games comparing graphs too. So look, I don't want to spoil too much. In fact, I'm just gonna leave it here because I actually really like this idea. I do think this would be a lot of fun. The current idea, I don't want to give away too much, and maybe it's not giving away anything at all. I'm not sure, but the idea is right now that we are going to have a piece of technology that will allow you guys to follow along with our progress in real time. So we should be able to have some very, very cool boop, 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 like graph data output that will theoretically track all of our results. And it'll make the whole thing a lot more exciting to watch, because if we're going to play something like 400, 500 games in a day, that's probably going to end up being like 8 hours of poker each. Seb could probably do that in way less because I'm sure he's capable of doing more tables. But if we're actually going for a competition whereby we're going to compare graphs, then obviously volume is not going to be as good. We're trying to show skill. Having said that, Seb is kind of like very, very fast with the tables and he plays very well regardless. So, you know, maybe we're just built different basically. But I would say also, Seb is used to playing loads of tables, but it's usually also MTTs. So definitely a different pace. The heads up is very demanding, obviously. Having said that, I don't want to take anything away from Seb. He likes to throw in some spinning goes alongside his MTTs sometimes. So I don't know. Seb is genuinely built different. Like I can't do all that crazy things that he does. I'm not as fast as Seb. Anyway, I think it's gonna be a lot of fun, and I'll let you guys know when we get there. I'd say probably we need to get through Barcelona first. I wouldn't mind making this like a regular thing a couple times a year. Anyway, I've dug myself a hole, and after WCUP, I'm calling end of this year, no matter how it turned out. Even if I were to win a WCUP title, I'll take a break anyway. I think that's very healthy, Baines. It's always very good to know yourself. For example, I don't know if I'm actually going to play any poker today because I woke up this morning. I felt great. I got some really good sleep. I did my morning routine, which is great. I went to the gym. I don't know if you guys saw my video. I was very sweaty because I'm a hashtag athlete. It's not a big deal. Don't talk about it. And I've just had a nutritious meal and I've done my supplements. And now I'm on life tilt already because this fucking microphone just decides it doesn't work some of the time. It's super annoying. It is smart not to play poker if you're not feeling it. Gaming stream instead, I think, is the shout. Raksha, I think you're quite right. The problem is we're on a delay now. I can just kill this stream and then we can do no delay because I don't want to game. I don't want to game if you guys are. I don't want to game if you guys are. I don't want to game if you guys aren't with me in real time, because that's not nearly as much fun. I'm trying to figure out what we would play though, huh? Maybe we should have a gaming stream. Let me get Steam out really quick. I'm gonna show you guys my Steam. I don't know if there's some sort of can I dox myself on Steam? Probably not, right? Should I risk it? Yeah, probably doesn't matter. Okay, library. This is my Steam. Hiker Tommy says the legend shirt is on though. It was a test with the mic. Fire a few, see how it flows. Yeah, Tommy might have a good point. Tommy might. I mean, your support makes me feel better. I feel less tilted when you guys support me. Thinks that if Upstairs wouldn't want us to play poker, they wouldn't have created EV. Okay, you know what? I'm trying to think. I was really enjoying Path of Exile 2, which needs an update anyway. This update might take forever, by the way, so I'll start that now anyway. Oh, 38.7. Oh, no, that's megabytes per second. All right, let me see how long this one takes. Anyway, Path of Exile was something I was very much enjoying. Don't really remember where I got to anyway. We'll start that anyway, and we'll see how we get on. I'll tell you what, let's just fire a few games. Let's take a look at our results first. The thing is, I do legitimately want to play poker today. Spin and Go Simulator. I do legitimately want to play poker today, so it wasn't that. It's more just like I feel like I've been irrationally frustrated in the last couple months. Maybe not completely irrational. Anyway, here's a look at our graph so far, guys. This year, we're winning chips. We're just not winning them fast enough. We are winning approximately half as many chips as we need to be profitable in this game. We need to win like double these chips at the moment. And I feel like a lot of these days we're playing our hearts out, so it seems difficult. So, tell you what we'll do. Let's just one table. Let's one table and have a little chat. Let's see how we go. I am wearing the Legend shirt today. I've got the anti Doom switch activated. I've got the anti Doom switch activated. Let's fire a table and see how we go. Oh, great. Really good. 2 regs. Great start. An Among Us stream would be funny. I feel like I've only ever absolutely fudged that game though. There are some pretty funny clips of me blundering that game so hard. Yeah, I mean that's not a bad shout. It might be fun to play a group game. I'm not even sure if I have it. Hey, what's up, Glyph? Good to see you. Shoving this hand is acceptable. Limping it is also acceptable. I want to get Mario Kart going again between our battles at LL and the Switch 2 at Christmas. Has me thinking about it ever since. I wouldn't mind a little Mario Kart situation. Can you play Mario Kart in Steam? No, it's like it's a Nintendo thing, right? They wouldn't have that on there. I don't think anyway. Let me take a look. This Steam download is definitely slowing things up a bit, but it's 12% in already, so it shouldn't be that long. Hey, what's up, Blue Fox? Good to see you, man. I can't wait to see this one game graph today. Fucking 8 on the river. God damn it. All right. I've got horses. I've got Ruth's horse game. Horse racing game. It's not exactly the deepest of games. Warhammer Total War 3. That would probably melt my PC if I stream that. Computer should be able to handle it, to be fair. It's not that wild, but that is a very GPU intensive game, and that's before you try and stream it. It's also a little bit cerebral. I'm not sure if our audience, you guys would really enjoy watching that. Cerebral is not the right word. It's just nerdy. Cerebral isn't the right word. I know you guys like cerebral on occasion. Honda Wayne, by the way. Shout out to my boy Honda Wayne. He's a friend of the stream. Hanging out with us on YouTube. Never give up, never surrender, I guess. That's true. That is true. Wise words. Wise words, Bruju. He's absolutely right, chat. He is absolutely correct. Now, A7 is a hand that we're going to shove 100% of the time here. Honda Wayne makes a very good call with the Ace-9. Pretty standard stuff. Bit unlucky for us, wouldn't you say, chap? Good news is you can always play me and get that confidence back. Akuma says, I wonder how much King of Poker plays. He seems to really live for spin and goes. When a drunk friend played the big boy stakes in the middle of the night, King was there. He plays an absurd amount of volume. I think Specky said that he plays something like 600 games a day, which is like kind of insane. And it's not like 600 games a day because I'm doing a challenge. It's like 600 games a day just for the memes. It's kind of crazy. Cliff said, I hadn't watched any poker streams in a couple of years, but by chance stumbled upon the APPT final table stream. What a roller coaster. Again, I cannot stress enough. If you guys haven't watched the final table of the APPT, and actually every day was very good. I wasn't bored at all during any of those streams, and there's always lulls in poker tournaments usually. So I don't mean that bored. I mean, like, you know, there were no down moments, basically. There were no chill spots. If you have not watched the final table of APPT Manila, which we broadcast this past weekend, go and watch it now. It was incredible. Probably one of my favorite final tables I've ever done commentary on. Got Jackbox. We got Helldivers. Does anyone want to play Helldivers? It's been a while. I'm not even sure if I remember how to play it, to be honest, but Golf with Friends should have been a much better game, by the way. I think the levels got a bit too wacky. Oh, Bad North is a good game. Oh. I was sure I heard a fly. I was like, what are you doing there? Go outside, sir. We got middle pair. We got middle pair. We're not folding. We're not folding. I'm tempted to turn the hand into a bluff now, as I don't believe our opponent has a strong hand, but I could be wrong. I think I prefer this line. Wish me luck, chat. We're gonna try our best. We're gonna try our absolute best. Okay. Interesting. I'm gonna value jam the river. The read was good. He was not strong. He was not very strong. Okay, now let's see if we can win the heads up. Immediately punished. Immediately punished. That is just classic. Undersea Monkey, thank you very much, mates. Even more meetings than usual today, but at least I can squeeze in some hot spin action. That's right. That is right. Thank you very much, buddy. I really appreciate it. And your support really means the world to me. Thank you very much, Sensitive Tony, for the sub. Your support means the world as well, mate. All right, well, despite ridiculous circumstances, we have somehow managed to find ourselves in a very advantageous position again. Pair of twos. The twos that never lose. Thanks, guys. Thank you for the subs. Appreciate it. Thank you for the biddies. You're all far too kind to me. And I'm really not deserving of it. I need to do better. I need to stop running into pairs is what I need to do. I really need to stop doing that. Yeah, Mike, this is probably noteworthy. If our opponent has an ace or a six, they're going to win a stack here. They've been playing a way too crazy game for us to fold here. Definitely value bet the turn, though. All right. I'm shoving because he can call us with a 9. Like I said, he shouldn't really ever technically have an ace here. He could have a 6, but we're blocking the hearts. I think we just go and just try and win it all off the 9 because, you know, whatever. It is what it is. Because it is what it is. The 9 is the card that he is most likely to pair with here. We managed to pull it off despite very, very troublesome circumstances. Thanks for the shout, Raksha. I'm going to sort that out now. Just subscribe. Now, how do I get rid of this? I don't even know how to get rid of it. Okay, thank you very much, Raksha. Go on then. Thank you for the sub. Thank you for the hype train manifestation. I appreciate you guys. All right, we want to go small with the lead here against this guy. Yeah, so this guy plays on the snugger side, and therefore it's important that we don't price him out. River is probably a very good spot for us. I think we're still trying to get hero called by ace high and stuff like that. So let's do this, and if we get raised, happy days. Here we go. Now, queen's full, almost impossible. Six is full would be absolutely hilarious. As played, though, we know he's still very capable of having flushes. He can still have overpairs to the board. We're going to try and get all of it. Induce river perfection. We love it. Sorry about the birds. This window becomes extremely noisy as soon as I go live. Raksha, I don't know how to get rid of that. I don't know how to remove that at live. I'm thinking we're just gonna do these. Let me see, YouTube Studio. We won't be folding the flop. Good luck, sir. You are a spin and go champion. You are a spin and go champion. Nice. Go on then. Thank you, Raksha. Look at all those special emotes. Freaky deaky emotes here. All right, we have nothing. We have freaky deaky emotes. Oh, Tom, thank you for the sub as well. What the hell? Didn't even spot that one. Cheers, buddy. We're almost to 4,000 subs on the channel. Let's go. 39 in the last 28 days. That's actually pretty good going for a small channel. All right, we're going to do a bluff raise. We're going to do a bluff raise with the jack tray. And the bluff is successful. And the 10-5 of spades, we're gonna limp. Because you are in trouble. Oh man, this download is nuking my computer right now. 40% done though. 40% of the way there. Let's have a little bet here. I might even double barrel bluff this board. I'm going to bet flop. I'm almost definitely going to bet turn if it comes brick. That's a really good turn to barrel. I think this is an extra fancy one, guys. We're going to go for a 3 big blind barrel. I think the story checks out here. We're blocking the straight. The king should be a scare card for a jack or an 8 quite often here. I might even triple off, potentially. We got a Zell. So this is 100% call, according to GTO. I feel like we always get in trouble with the weakest of our calls, the king deuce, the ace deuce. Do you think we can just get a little hold for the hundo? No, not for us. All right, we're back to the drawing board. Hype chest, woo! Well, we unlocked a batter up emote. That's fantastic. Yes. Choo-choo indeed. All right, Zell. Let's see what you got, buddy. You have collected all the level 1 emotes? No, that's what you get, Tom. That's your reward. We're not going to fold to a delayed c-bet here. That is not good for our health. We will be calling. And we will reconsider river. We could potentially turn this into a bluff on this river. That would be pretty cool. But we shan't. We shan't. I'd rather turn it into a check shove bluff than to a lead bluff river. This is a pretty good candidate. He could be value betting like a 10 for sure. I think probably we have the kind of hand that still wants to call though. Just like that. And the queen 5 is a very clear push, although again, I should note these are hands that we always seem to get wrong, even though we're definitely getting it right, theoretically. It's party time. Jack 3 of hearts. This is another 100% push at 5 big blinds effective. Still feels bad. Because they always have it, chat. They always got it, you see. We just got to keep doing the right thing. 722 Wade, 722, welcome back. Says, good luck today. Are you commentating or playing EPT Barcelona? I will be there for commentary. I will be commentating on that event from next Sunday. So commentary dates are... Interesting turn. Commentary dates are going to be the 23rd until the 30th. 23rd till the 29th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, that's it. All right, so we got a bet flop, a check turn, and we're going to try and take the 7 to showdown. If he bets again here, it is a very tough spot for us for sure. We know that Zelzel is very capable of bluffing in spots like this. This could be a very good overbet jam with a queen or an ace, I suppose. We're blocking the backdoor straight, which is something that he's supposed to be representing here too. Shall we look him up again? Pretty good. You guys will note in the pots where we weren't forced all in, we seem to do quite well. Which is probably why we used to win a lot more chips when we were playing reg speed spin and goes. We can't seem to work out the whole short stack go all in win a pot thing. The overbet jam river with a queen there would be like so goddamn good. Like if I was in his shoes and I had a queen, bet flop for sure, check turn fine. Overbet jam river is like very good, especially if you have a good kicker. If you have a good kicker there, you are absolutely loving life. Same with an ace, really. The ace plays very similarly because if I have a queen, then you're probably going to have to call. Hey, what's up, Gilly? This is another good example. This is a spot that we happily just ship every single time, running into a huge hand. These are the ones that really I find the most frustrating, I think, guys, because there's really it's just random variance, right? There's no use crying over it. It's not something we should feel frustrated about. I think probably I'm most frustrated because I feel like the new format just forces so many more of these spots. There are so many situations that are just a very clear push fold, and if your opponent just has a hand, you just like instantly lose the EV. The deeper you are, the shorter the clocks, the longer the clocks, excuse me, the more chances you have for the skill to prevail. And I think that after a very, very good game against Zelzel, where we've done a lot right, we just immediately lose 60% of that pot. 60% of the chips involved with that pot there. All right, on the turn, I would say probably checking makes a lot more sense. This is how we look weak. SPR is nearly 1 anyway. Now, me and Zelzel just played a very special kind of game, didn't we, a moment ago? And now, of course, we're going to get the rest of the chips in here. And he might feel like hero calling me because I was hero calling the shit out of him a minute ago. Check turn, very valuable here, though. Worked out fine. So, blind v blind. I'd say against the reg in a 50, let's just let that one go. It's probably still a hand we can enter the pot with in some way, but there we go. How you going, Gilly? So yeah, for those of you that have been following along, myself and Gilly started a Baldur's Gate 3 honor run. We got so unlucky. An NPC accidentally aggroed. So we got to the Underdark and we were actually doing really well. We were basically walking through the game. We were doing fantastic. Our characters were really strong. We were just coming into like some really good levels. We triggered an explosion as part of a quest, which is part of the game. It's not, we weren't doing anything dangerous. We blew up a wall because that's what you're supposed to do in the quest. But the flames from the explosion were all over the floor, and an NPC walked along the flames and triggered as though we had hurt him in a fight. So we ended up fighting an entire cave full of NPCs that were not our enemies in any way, shape, or form, and unfortunately we died. And actually, not just that, we looked like we were going to pull it off, but we were actually going to kill all the NPCs, and we would have survived the accidental encounter. But then we set off a smoke powder bomb. And for some reason it exploded way bigger than it should have done and wiped our entire team. So we're having to restart the honor run, but this time I think we have a better plan anyway. I think we're gonna have better characters regardless. Okay. 8 deuce, we definitely fold. We're going to call a very wide range here. I mean, 10-6 is technically going to be a call here for 4.6. I think maybe against the reg, we can afford to be a smidge tighter. No, against the reg and the 2x multiplier, we just have to follow the rules. Dominated as per usual. – 23rd is 2 months after hip surgery on my part. I'm bionic now. Hey, congratulations. I hope you're healing well. I hope everything's I hope your new life as a bionic person is going well. We can look up the 10-6 later on, guys. I'll put that in our review category. It's definitely a call. It's definitely a call. It's not even close. Actually, sorry. I suppose it's safe to say that it is actually close. It is definitely on the close side, but against a reg playing a 2x multiplier, we're not supposed to. We're giving up EV if we fold. The fact that we're dominated is just stupid as per usual. I am going to bluff this river. This is going to be super duper cool. Watch this, chat. Nice hand, sir. It was a super cool bluff, though. Really thought it was cool. Much better squad this time. We got this run piece of cake. I mean, okay, this is the thing that was annoying about it, guys. We were doing an honor run, and it wasn't even like we fucked up, and it wasn't like we sucked. Like we were actually killing it. We were beating the game. We were way ahead of the power curve. An NPC wandered into fire that we created by accident and pissed himself off against us, even though we didn't start a fight with him at all. And then we ended up losing as a result of it. It was fucking bullshit. It was actual bullshit. I do feel like this time around we have a better squad, but that's because I think now we're feeling a bit more confident with like the characters that we want to play in this run. But the squad that we had last time wasn't lacking. They were actually really good. We just got really unlucky. Okay, well, whatever. I feel like the games we've played so far have been very good so far. I feel like the games we've played so far have been solid. Albeit a lot of silly yeah you win spots. Thank you, Demo. Appreciate it. Welcome back. Where can I see this giant mess? I mean, I wish we had recorded it. I mean, I would love to stream Baldur's Gate like with a team. I would really like to play Baldur's Gate with 4 actual live players. It's been so, I don't know if I'm sure I've said this before on stream. I really like okay, we'll bluff the turn then. I really liked. I did not enjoy playing Baldur's Gate on my own. There was too much upkeep, and I'm more of like I want to focus on like my character and what my character is doing, and like their stats and their experience and blah blah blah. Managing like 4 characters, I know you can do a solo run, but also I'm not that hardcore. So having just managing 2 characters, so myself and then one of the NPCs, is cool. I mean, it's not an NPC, but you know what I'm saying, one of the existing players is very fun. I think it'd be even cooler if you had 4 people and each person like managed an individual character. Okay, I have no idea what the hell this is. This is not how you play poker. There is no overbet shove turn, I can guarantee that. That is 100% spewing. And we need to be aware of that for future. Ace Queen 7 should be a pretty straightforward just a bet. We can absolutely delay bet these spots too, but Ace Queen 7 is just way too good for us. Getting a lock with 7 deuce is always nice. Queen 6. I would say King 10 tray is very similar in that sense. We can just sort of bet here. If they lead for 3 big blinds into 2. We can probably just fold. It's probably not the end of the world. Definitely do not approve of this behavior though. Now, okay, now we're leading 4 into 2. It's okay, we'll find a hand here eventually. We just got to enter a pot, make 2 pair, wait for them to lead. This actually feels really uncomfortable, but we're going to have to call at least once. Okay, if he checks, we're going to shove turn now, I think. I don't think he has a queen, and therefore probably going to have more draws. Jack 9, I suppose, does get there. I think maybe something like this is probably better. Is this better? Is this better? No, let's just send it. Here we go. Can get called by worse 10s, I suppose. 9? Any 9s about? No. Just gonna get all the chips in with Jack 10. The shove with Jack 10 is probably not the end of the world. It's definitely not going to be super minus EV, but it's definitely not optimal. I think the moral of the story is that we're just not lucky people. I don't know if that's true. I feel like I'm a very lucky person in general. I feel like I've been very lucky in my life. Perhaps not in games. Less so in games is fair, I think. I think there's a good chance we're allowed to do this. Try and end the hand right here, right now. I will look this one up later, though. I'm interested to see if this is a thing. I'm pretty sure it is. Let's give this a look in a sec. The 7-5, I think, is an interesting one. Watch that one later, and we're 57% of the way through the download. I don't know if we're gonna play today, but guys, but once that's sorted, we will experience a little bit less lag. Pretty sure the stream is fine. The actual stream quality, just on my side, the computer's being a bit slow whenever we do a download like that. I think I'm basically downloading. When I started playing Path of Exile, I'm pretty sure it was still in beta. So I'm assuming what we're getting is more of the finished game. All right, the King of Pokers. You thought the stream froze? All right, so we're definitely ahead of some king highs and stuff, maybe some jack highs and stuff. The 10 is an interesting card. I think we're just going to get to showdown, though. When we get floated there, and then the turn is a queen, he's not going to have trips that often, obviously. He's not going to have a 3 that often, obviously. He will almost never have an ace. So this time we're going to make this 3x to go as an ISO bluff. Wade says, speaking of luck, do you have any lucky number or a hand you like to play? I mean, not really. I try to keep it as I try to keep poker as free of superstition as possible. I'm going to mark that 10-8 as well. I want to see the post flop on that one. Let's do this. I try to keep poker as free of superstition as possible. I think 10-9 of hearts, I think, is a particularly pretty hand. Queen 9 is also, Queen 9 suited, also a very nice hand. Queen 9 of hearts. I think is a really nice hand. I'd say those are the two that stand out. 8-7 suited, definitely pretty hand. You'll notice they're all very speculative hands and not like monsters, but there you go. I guess that's what you're supposed to do. When people ask you that question, you're never supposed to say aces, right? Against the reg, let's just play the fast one here with the king tray. Straight into a hand. We will win one of these eventually, by the way. There we go. The king 3 will just print as a push there. It's, I think we probably balance king 3, king deuce as a limp as in GTO baseline, but it doesn't fucking matter. It's the same. It's all the same. The difference is if we shove against king of poker there, he can't outplay us. If we shove king tray, it is just the value of that hand, and that's all there is to write about it. He doesn't get to outplay us post flop, which is something that he's particularly good at doing, by the way. What? Hey, Murphy Turner was yeah, ace 9 loses a flip is pretty standard stuff. Reasonable caveat, unlucky in games. I would appear unlucky to the naked eye, but I just make incredibly bad decisions. I find I'm generally very lucky. I concur. Yeah, I mean, I've made some really stupid decisions in my life, but I've also made some pretty good moves, I have to say. Historically, Nick has made moves that were cool. Also, some really stupid moves too. We're not folding ace jack. I don't care what anyone says. Let's go. Power. Power. Yo, what's up? Hey, what's up, everybody from Western Stream? Welcome. My name is Nick Walsh. I am a PokerStars team pro and also PokerStars ambassador and also commentator and occasional spinning go enthusiast. I say occasional. We're going to play a lot of spinning goes this year. Welcome. We're playing spinning goes. If you guys have any questions or comments, hit me up in the chat. It's a great pleasure to have received that raid from Mr. Lasse. Speaking of which, I really miss Wistern. I feel like I haven't seen him for ages now. I hope you're well, buddy. I hope your stream went well. Did Wistern win all the monies today is the question that everybody wants to know. Because I certainly just won that $50. Let's go. Yeah, we're not folding ace 5 there, guys. Never, never, never. You got it made. This is a raid. This is a fucking raid. How you going, mates? Shout out to Wizzy. I'm thinking about coming to visit the island kind of soon. I was in the shower earlier today, and I was thinking about Wistern, of course, as I often do in the shower. And I was thinking, you know what? It's so simple to just get a flight out to Isle of Man, go to Gatwick, one flight straight there, free accommodation, obviously, and you know, go and see all the bros. Go and see all the dudettes, the dudes and dudettes, and check out the island and like go wild swimming and like watch motorcycles and stuff. I don't like this hand very much, but I might start bluffing the turn anyway. No, I'll just do this. Miss you too, buddy. Yeah, that's all right. Well, I'm gonna come visit soon. I'm gonna pick a weekend and we're gonna come say hi. We're gonna hang out. We'll go see the Legend of Strag as well. I watch Wistern all the time, and his stream is chill and good music too. Totally. I've studied a lot lately, and I'm actually playing my best poker at the moment. Good, mate. I love to hear it. Studying poker is very, very cool. Just not today. Okay, fair enough. You played 3 out of 10. Oh, okay, cool. 3 out of 10 skill wise. I understand. All good, man. All good. I've been a bit hit and miss today myself, so I can't really throw any stones. You know what I mean? This is a raid. This is a fucking raid. I'm gonna do something so wacky, guys. Watch this. You ready? You guys ready? You watching? You guys what? Oh, he didn't want to bet that flop. I was gonna min check raise, and it was gonna be super cool. I'm gonna value bet the river. He's gonna call me with a 6. It's gonna be super cool. All right, Wizzy, I will jump on a plane and I will come see you, but you have to come swimming in the sea with me, or in some other Isle of Man body of water that's really cold. Miss Drag as well, of course. Sheila is always invited. Sheila is the party. So, guys, we're gonna call here. I really hate this, but we're playing a 2x multiplier, and I don't think we can fold the equity that we have in this hand. 41% equity for 4 big blinds. It kind of just is what it is. I think we might be getting a little bit too snug if we're folding that much equity. So let's just do it, and then let's lean back on him as soon as we get some chips. As soon as he wins it. We're kind of following the rules there. The rules were written for people who actually are going to be very aggressive. So it's not crazy to take out some, but I do think that's a bit too tight. Against this player, we will limp the 5-4. I'm going to bluff at this flop too. Pavel. Undersea Monkey says, jumping in the $25 pool for a bit. All right, money's up for grabs. I mean, yeah, if you can get on one of our tables. Free money Walsh, that's what they call me. Free money Walsh returns. Marianco, thank you very much for the follow. Good to have you here, dude. We're not folding king 4 here. And 7 tray is the bottom of the barrel here, I'm afraid. Live? Trying to... Okay, that one's live. Upcoming. Oh, okay, I see where to delete it. This is the same thing, guys. We're just going to call with our equity. Ocho. Queen. Get out of my house. Yeah, okay, there we go. Upcoming. There we go. Thank you. All right, Raksha, I found the button to do it now. I can delete that live. That was upcoming. Unlucky there at the end. Pretty standard stuff. It is lovely times for 1 hour. Come down to Port Erin. We do a sauna at the beach, then jump in the water. Okay, there you go. Sold. Sold. I've never been to Port Erin. I've only ever been to Douglas. It's called Douglas, right? 9 out of 7, and it sucks. It is called Douglas, right? Douglas, Isle of Man. Yeah, Douglas. Onken as well. Onken is around the corner. That's up from Douglas. That's where the PokerStars HQ was. We can do it in the evening and you can have the sunset at the same time. Glorious. Glorious, mate. Good old Onken. Tower of Refuge. That's right. That's a pretty thing. So if you guys have ever seen, there's like a miniature lighthouse that's sort of off the coast of Douglas in Isle of Man. It looks like a little miniature castle. And you can see it off the coast. Akatube, thank you very much for the follow. Appreciate that. We could definitely just bet this flop if we wanted to. Checking is also fine. Getting min check raised is whatever. We're going to call once, and if we hit a queen or a nine, we're going to go for it. Or we have too much equity to fold now. Wish me luck, guys. Hilarious. We actually had the best hand until the turn. How sick is that? We were getting check raised by a hand we had dominated. Fantastic stuff. So the Tower of Refuge. Here we go. The Tower of Refuge is situated on Conister Rock, also known as St. Mary's Isle. It's a small structure erected upon a partially submerged reef, originally for the purpose of offering shelter to shipwreck victims until help could arrive. Situated in Douglas Bay, the tower came into being after RNLI founder William Hillary petitioned for sanctuary to be built on St. Mary's Isle. The reef on which it is built was previously often responsible for the damage of sinking of ships, and so the tower provided both a visible warning to oncoming ships and a refuge for those in distress. That's beautiful. And it does look like a little miniature castle. It's cool. Yeah, I've never been to Port Erin. That's definitely a good shot. We should do that. I'm in. We got actually good sand beaches and also got the sunset. I mean, yeah, you guys will have a much nicer beach than we have here in Brighton. Although the beach in Brighton is different. You can't really compare the two. It's a different vibe. Eat some tapas, get some drinks in, then sauna and swim. Glorious. What more do you want from life, eh? What more could you possibly want? Okay, we got a 10 and a 6. Follower. Oh, I'm very sorry to my YouTube audience. I've not been looking at the chat. Hope you're doing well. Getting back into spins too. Got a 45% win rate on the $3 spins as of late. I have turned to GG instead of stars to blah, 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 blah. I did turbo MT. Okay, I see. And then I got your back, Blue Fox. I'm very much looking forward to Barca. I'm very, very much looking forward to Barca, dude. It's going to be a lot of fun. Commentary will be in fuego as per usual. What platform do I play video games on? So I usually play on PC. My friend and colleague, Robin Reckman, helped me build this gaming PC that I'm streaming from right now. It is an absolute beast. I mean, even though it's actually been, I had it for a few years, I think it's still pretty high end. It's pretty high spec still. Sorry for the drilling again, guys. So we got a GeForce RTX 4090, I think. And it's got like a bajillion RAM. A bajillion gig of RAM. Because I thought there was a good chance I would be doing a lot more independent poker solving on it. Queen 9 is definitely the correct call here. Ace 10 gets a little freebie. That was probably a reasonable check raise spot, to be fair. We might have missed that one. I think probably a bit of both. Bit of check raise, bit of folds, fine. We're going to limp fives here, and if he raises, we'll ship. If he shoves, we'll call. Pocket twos can shove there. That's always a nice one. Okay, we're going to do a big ISO here. We're going to use this size. We're going to do the limp here. Seven deuce. It's a burning thing. At least ring. Yeah, we're gonna have to stick around here. We're gonna have to be pretty sticky here, I'm afraid. Pretty sticky. Or we might even have to call this river now, guys. Turning a hand into a bluff is definitely an option as well. Okay. I fell into shoving king 9. I went all in and everything was fine. I just shoved that ace 9. That ace 9. King of poker, how are you so good? All you do is play. Just like you should. And we got king 5. We got it all in against queen 9. Against queen 9. What else can we do? We go all in with the best hands, and we just lose anyway. I tried to beat spinning ghosts, but instead my money, it goes. And it burns. All of my money. All of my money. 9 of spades, 6 of spades. What an absolute monstro. Love burning thing. Just gonna grab some water, guys. Give me a sec. All right. I just consumed some cod liver oil and now I will be unstoppable. I fell into a pot with ace king. Helpa says, would you ever consider playing 50s? Absolutely, yeah. It's not about bankroll, Helpa. We're not playing 25s because we can't afford to play higher stakes. We did a challenge at the 10s. I thought it made sense to do a challenge at the 25s. In previous years, I used to play 50s and 100s full time. So playing higher stakes isn't an issue. But it is much higher variance now and much more volatile than it once was. We're not folding to a check raise here. We cannot bet fold ace king on this board. You have to fold the turn, I think, though, especially on the 4 turn. Mark that hand for review. What was the other hand that we wanted to mark for review? I'm not sure if we actually got there in the end. We got to call this one as well, I think. We are always dominated. Reg v Reg, this is a mandatory call, though, for sure. 8 deuce. Mark that hand. Let's hit this guy with a little ghetto gospel. Yeah. But yes, Helpa, the pool average is low. There's a lot of good players who are playing 25s. I actually believe, and I could be wrong, but I'm pretty confident I kind of understand how this works. I believe the reason why the 25s are actually so tough is there's a lot of $150 regs that move down after the changes because they're still hitting the same sort of volume as they were before. But they're also They're still hitting the same kind of volume in terms of dollars turned over, but they're also mitigating the variance and the volatility that they suffer throughout the year by playing 25s as opposed to higher. Good game. Ace 10. That was an interesting one, wasn't it? Sorry, guys. I'm trying to find. I'm going to mark this one too. 10 4. Got quite a few interesting ones here, actually. Oh, yeah. This one for sure. The Queen 9 suited. They're just going to want us to check the flop. I think that's fine too. I get that, but let's just look at it anyway. Okay, cool. Cool hand, Matt. Thank you very much. Everything is good. Poker this year has been tough, but I would say overall life is good. Life is very good. I'm going to. We're gonna make a go of this year, no matter what. We're gonna try our best. We're gonna try and make today work. It's the last thing we do. This year. Yeah, it's going to be any two cards here, just to get them all in for the best of it, for the elimination. All right, let's get another table going. Six, seven. Printle. Yeah, we won't be folding yet. In fact, I don't know if we can fold on any street now. Printle very capable of check raise bluffing these situations. I think we're going to have to do this now. We can still get called by a 6. I think he probably will end up having like a pair and a straight draw some of the time here, though, so the shove is probably best. Wade says, do you play or have another format you like to play other than spin and go? I really like playing cash. I play MTTs as well, don't get me wrong, but like in terms of experience, cash and spins are my two big ones. you know, playing sit and goes, there's still tournaments. You still have experience, and I have a lot of experience playing tournaments of sorts, just not, you know, big fields, big field events. I would say I really, really like playing cash, especially live cash. And I really like playing spins. This year has been very successful in poker in general. I've actually won a fair amount playing tournaments and cash. Cash has been particularly good to me this year. Cash has been particularly good. But spins, not so much. Okay, once we hit the jack, we're definitely going absolutely nowhere. If he's got us beat, that's fine. We have to shove the turn. We're leading with the gut shot. We can rep the clubs as well, potentially. Trap nines. I might just send this one. Yeah, let's do it. Fair play, fair play. I think that's fair. That's exactly the kind of flush draw that would check flop. But we're trying. We are absolutely trying. Obviously, the point being that a lot of his flush draws will just bet that flop. Most of his flush draws will bet that flop. If he has a pair and a flush draw specifically, it's obviously a different setup. And we're pair over pair again because, you know, cool. It's not a NickWalshTV stream unless we're pair over pair at least 10 times for all the chips. And never on the right side of it. Always the under pair. Smeagol says, howdy, howdy. Lurking, getting ready for work. Getting ready for work? You work at home. Okay. Aces is a good hand. This is a nice setup for us. That is a good wake up. That's unlucky for the ace-10. That is a cooler. Does feel good to be on the right side of those once in a while. I'm going to check raise if he bets this flop. Okay, we're going to bet the turn now, I think. No, we're not. Pair of sevens is basically the nuts. Is it possible to lose, chat? Yeah, the 7 could be good there. King of Poker has been doing this recently, though. And it's very rare that I think he's waking up with the bluffs there. King 8 suited is the nuts. All right, we're going to call a shove with the ace-9 suited if we have to. Double Buddha, thank you very much. You're certainly going to try, my friend. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Bum 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 bum. Ba da 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 da. How incredibly out of line do you think I can get here, chat? Watch this. Watch this. Oh my goodness. Can you believe the gumption of this fool? Can you believe the absolute gumption? Come on, send me a jack, please. That's not a jack. Mark that one for review. Pocket jacks, get all in. And the queen and the trade. All we gotta do is be annoying. We just want to be annoying for all of our opponents. Help is saying, how much rake back can you get on stars? So it depends where you live, but it goes up to 60%. So if you are select plus and you are playing spin and goes, I believe you can get up to 60. In order to get to select plus, you do need to play a very, very, very high volume of game though, which for spin and go players is much easier than it would be for MTT players, for example. In certain jurisdictions, it's different though. So for example, if you live in Germany, you are not allowed to have any rewards of any kind. And that is not a PokerStars rule. That is a German government rule, which is very, very sad for our German friends. Ace and an 8, baby. Let's go all in. And you know what? We're going to raise this one too, because I want to. I feel like it. We're going to raise Queen 8 because I can, and I will. I'm going to bet exactly 1.5 chips on the flop. And I'm going to bluff the turn now as well. We're going to bet 3.5, and I'm going to shove the river if I need to. Sixes are all in. King of Poker is spicy with 10-7 of clubs. Shabba-dabba-dup, shabba-dabba-dup. Da-da-da, shabba-dabba-dup, shabba-dabba-dup. Queen deuce is all in every time when they limp at 10 big blinds. I gotta fix the camera. Zelzel, you tricky boy. I guess against the reg, we have to follow the rules. I'm going to mark the 8-4 suited for review when this is done. I would say probably we got to fold now, I guess. Queen 10, not quite. So 8-4 suited limp call raise, I think is standard there against the reg. I don't know. We're going to have to look it up, guys. I'm going to make it 2.5 big blinds with the king jack suited. If we have to call a shove, we will. Um, 60% rake back is quite a lot. I mean, I need to impress upon everyone that in order to get to 60%, you do need to play a lot of volume. A lot of volume. But 60% is quite high. I mean, getting to the 60% is challenging, don't get me wrong, but you are going to struggle to get much above 60% on any proper site, though. For sure. Zell, I have king queen. Would you like to play with me? King 10. King 5. Don't know this player on the right. On the left, excuse me. Let's see if we can navigate this. Can we navigate this? We're not folding flop. We're not going to fold the flop. We have a straight draw and a flush draw now. Can't fold. There's still an opportunity for us to bluff on a later street here. We can still shove river and win here. Despite the fact we have the Omega combo draw. Guess not. Let's mark that one for review. I'm pretty sure this is all above board. I mean, there was a time, a long time ago, when online poker was really booming, when you could get crazy rakeback deals. But these days, the majority of the big sites, you know, you're going to get 50 or 60, something like that back. If you're one of the top grinders. Lovely way to get kings cracked. Just perfect. Okay, we're gonna start with a bet. I think we can probably size up here. I think this is pretty good. Queen 10 against the unknown. Start betting, I guess, is okay against this guy. Let's do this one. This one. Starts small on this flop. Back in the good old days of poker, that's right. We're gonna bet 2 on the flop. In fact, we're gonna bet 1.5 as a bluff. Nice pot there, and that's good. Let's do this. Let's do this. Where are we at? 6-3 still fine. Queen high backdoor straight draw, backdoor flush draw on the left. Just float flop, I think, is best. Our opponent will be betting king jack jack like 100% of the time, and we might get away with the 1 big blind lead here on the river. 6-3. This is fine. Check the turn. I think, where did we start this pot? We started it. Okay, maybe not actually. I'm gonna triple here, guys. Let's do this. I have a plan. I have a plan in mind there. Queen jack, let's go. Always dominated, chat. Always. Always dominated. This is the new... You know how Tonka was never lucky? I'm always dominated. King 9 suited. Let's get the stack in here. Zachary Tarosian, what's up, my man? Welcome to the stream, dude. Good to see you. So, guys, over on YouTube, we got my cousin Zach, who I'm very close with. And the reason we're so close is not only were we really raised together, but also my cousin Zach was born on the same day as me in the same hospital and the same doctor. And he's like an hour older than I am, which is just crazy when you think about it. Bench Woo is asking, hey, Nick, what was your biggest downswing in buy-in in the old spin structure? So in the old spin structure, I think the worst downswing I ever had was maybe 150 buy-ins. And that was like, the world is ending. Like, this is the worst downswing I've ever experienced in my life. Like, this is really, really, really tough. Like, this is a bad spot. And also the feeling like this will probably only ever happen like once or twice in my lifetime if I play like a high volume of spins. In the new structure, in the 5,000 games we played last year, since they changed the new structure, Always dominated, chat. Always. This is a slam dunk, by the way. Ace-5 suited. Yeah, we're just going to get this in, guys. If he has an ace, that's fine. Whatever. Good luck to him. Queen 3's got to go here as well. Nice. The Queen 3 call is mandatory against the reg, and also we're way too shallow to even consider folding that. Like, we just have to send the chips at some point. We were dominated in all 3 of the forced all-ins on the right-hand side. Like, our EV in this game is fucked. It's totally ruined because we have 3 standard all-ins, mandatory all-ins, not even just like, okay, maybe we can like play a bit tight here. Super standard all-ins, and all 3 of them were dominated. So now that game just looks like we've messed it up. That game just looks like we're the worst poker player of all time. I'm going to check. We're hoping for spades, but I will bluff a later street if I need to. Pair and a flush draw. Can you believe it, chat? Can we win 100% of this pot on the river? Oh, this is so annoying. I mean, look, the 3 is probably good quite often. We probably have the correct price to call. Our opponent shouldn't really have a king or a 10 in this spot that often, so I guess we have to call now. Doesn't feel good, though. Nice hand, dude. Nice hand. We brick the entire universe there as well. 5-3, any pair, any 2 pair, any flush. The fact that he's shoving the Queen 7 is interesting as well, because I don't think he's doing this for value. I think he's doing this because he doesn't know what else to do with the 7, basically. But yeah, nice hand. But yeah, sorry. Benchby was asking about downswing. So I think the worst downswing I ever had was maybe 150 buy-ins playing reg speeds. That happened maybe once. I probably had a couple hundred buy-in downswings thereafter too. Like, swings and spins are very common. It's not that crazy. Can be very frustrating, can be very demoralizing. In the new format, obviously the game is much more volatile. It's much more high variance. Much higher variance in general. In the 5,000 games that we played at the $10 stakes when we were testing out the new format last year during our 50K challenge or whatever it's called, we had a 160 buy-in downswing in the space of those 5,000 games. In the current year, in the year 2026, since we've been playing the 25s, we're currently 200 buy-ins down. That's not strictly true. We're actually more like 100 buy-ins down after rakeback, which obviously is a pretty big component now with the games being much faster and you're playing much more volume and all that stuff. So we're currently, I guess, on like 100 buy-in downswing or so after rakeback, but we're experiencing a 200 buy-in downswing pre-rakeback, which is pretty nuts. And the variance is difficult to pinpoint. Like I've been talking about in these games just now, I truly believe that we're currently experiencing a downswing. Our actual chips won is not that far from our EV chips, but the card distribution that we've experienced this year has been particularly negative. So that might manifest itself as, Nick, you've got a very low chip EV this year. Fine. We're not playing that much volume really in the grand scheme of things anyway. By the end of 10,000 games, you should expect to see something that resembles something like your true chip EV. So we won't know till the end of the year exactly what that looks like, but I do think for the first 4,000 games or so, we've had a pretty rough go of it. I mean, you're playing a spin and go and you're playing perfectly well, and you are all in 3 or 4 times at the very end for all of the chips in play every single time, and you have ace 5 into ace queen, then you have 10-8 into ace 10, and then you have king 9 into ace king or whatever. It just happens 3 times in a row and it just demolishes your EV. You know, if you play a high variance format like this where the timer is going so quickly, you do ultimately just have to play the cards that you're dealt. And usually when the game is this fast, you do ultimately have to play push fold. And when you're playing push fold, it's just whoever has the better cards wins. So theoretically, over enough volume, that balances out, right? So I'm going to have the aces sometimes, you're going to have the 5s sometimes, and vice versa. So it's not just all woe is me. It's not like, okay, cool, well, Yeah, Nick, it's annoying because you ran fives into aces, but that's going to happen to you the same amount. Fair enough. Probably it will. At the moment, we're definitely on the wrong side of these. Millionaire Mojo says, I think the most I've ever lost in a row was like 18. Luckily, watching Nick keeps my game fresh. That's good. My first ever on GG was 100x, true story. I mean, yeah, we got really lucky with a big multi quite early on as well. All right, man, keep going, Ram. Good luck with your games, dude. Okay, well, let's just keep firing. I think both of those games were very good for us. Not good for our EV. Doesn't do anything to actually further our mission here, but both games that we probably would play exactly the same way. The 5-3 suited spot is like, it's exactly what it is. Like the guy is playing Queen 7 like it's top pair, which is fine. The guy is playing Queen 7 like it's top pair, where most players would check down the 7, which makes his hand essentially a bluff. I feel free to contact me, Mr. Queen 7, and explain to me about how you were value betting a 7 there, but that's all good. Not just that, we've managed to brick the combination draw. We brick the flush draw, then we get the combo draw, then we miss the combo draw. It's pretty magnificent, really. Never shove into aces. That is a pro tip, Zintex. Very good. Jack 7, 100% push here. And they always have a hand. There's no fold. We have no fold equity in this game. There's no such thing as fold equity when it comes to Nick Walsh. We play a good hand. We win good chips. We get it all in, standard spot. They have us dominated. It's exciting. Okay. Min ISO at that stack depth, maybe not. King Jack of Hearts, yes please. We will definitely happily gamble with this one. Millionaire Mojo says, I think it was more about pot commitment than value. Most rec players will pot commit any pair at that point. Not great, but they do it. No, I think you're absolutely right. I completely agree. That's kind of my point, Mojo, is like what I'm saying is he basically just doesn't know what to do with his hand, so he's like, I guess I'm getting it all in. And that's fine. Like that's not insane to me. But that also further kind of confirms why we have to call down with the hand that we had there. I think that's exactly why we have to kind of do what we do with that hand. Yeah, this is a tough one, guys. I don't really see a way out. If he has a 9, that's fine. It is what it is. I think shoving is better than calling, though. We don't want to give him a free card. No, I think you're absolutely right, but then that kind of also is the same reason why calling down with a 3 is good, right? So if we think he's capped, and he's probably not going to turn up with a king, well, he almost never has a king, basically. Even recreationals are probably going to shove their king X combos more often. So it's discounted. It's discounted, sure. Definitely safe to say it's a discounted spot. A lot of players with the 10 have the confidence not to play the hand aggressively in that situation as well, in the same way that the 7 probably shouldn't be played that way either. But there we are. I think it's fine. I think it's all good. I might even mark the 5-3 for reference. I mean, I don't think we play it differently, to be honest. So let's take a look at that hand as well. What was it? It was the 5-3 of spades, wasn't it? Jack 9, right into Queen Jack. Always dominated. Always, always, always dominated. Always dominated. Just constant domination here. 5 big blinds deep, and you just get it in bad every time. It's so hard to win chips. Okay, so we got... Where is this hand, man? You're killing me right now. 5-3 of spades. Where did you go? There it is. All right, cool. Mark hand. We're gonna have some good post flop analysis at the end of today's stream, at least, guys. There's a couple spots in here that I think have been bothering me. There's a couple spots in here that I'm definitely not confident in the post flop arena. Potentially games that spots that could win us more chips in the long run as well. 2 games. Let's go. Also, if he's watching you and he knows you will call down with ace high or a pair of 3s, his queen 7 is thin, but not terrible because he can rule out a lot of your top range. So yes and no. I think when we check on that flop, king 10-7, I think we end up having like loads of king X, loads of 10X. I don't think we're going to hero call him with ace high. Maybe that's a bit too wild. But yeah, I mean, look, there's some truth to that. Yeah, absolutely. I don't think that's what it was somehow, though. You know, if you know what I mean. Ace jack suited, yes, please. Okay, we're gonna check the king 3 of clubs. That was a quick check. King high for the win. I mean, I'm not folding. This guy might have an ace, I guess, or a 6, but doesn't really make much sense, does it? King high call is good. I want deuces, cause they never loses. Cat's gonna raise fold and just do us a favor here. Cat's gonna min-raise fold the button to do us a favor so we don't have to lose another flip. Fucking hell, dude. Really tough. Really tough. Really tough. It's tough when they always have it. All right, we're definitely ahead of some king highs. We're beating the spade flush draws. This is the guy that just bluffed with queen high a minute ago. I think there's a chance he has a hand like Jack 10. He could have a king high. He could have the miss spades. Don't think he has an ace. He might be value betting a queen. That makes sense. We'll make a note of the limp because that's the bit that makes it tricky. Okay, so limped button. He limped 8 big blinds effective. That's important to note. Too spicy, man. Too spicy. Limp button 8 effective. Multi-way. Ace 4 off. Was it ace 4? Yeah, I mean, definitely noteworthy. Hence the hero call. I would be less inclined to call there if we hadn't just seen him turn queen high into a bluff in a spot where he has like a really good showdown spot. He also basically has the nut 7. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. I think if you have a 7, you're winning there most of the time. That's not a consideration in a pot that shallow. I think it's totally cool. The takeaway though, the general vibe though, the thing that I think is important to remember in this spot or to think about in this spot is most people aren't going to turn a 7 into a bluff, basically, which is what he's doing. Now, kind of what you're saying is true. Like, so maybe he knows that you like to call down light, so he's value jamming a 7 because he thinks you're going to call with ace high. Yeah, I guess so. I think that probably is going to get you in more trouble than anything else, just because when I check on king 10-7, like, it's a spot where I'm going to bluff most of the time. So if I'm not betting, I will have showdown. In our case, we actually had a draw. In our case, we end up with a draw, and then we end up with even more of a draw. But we don't make draws in this game. Yeah, this is too much to fold. Small blinds involved. We have to call with a king 3. It's fine. It just is what it is. 50 big blinds. $50 game. $50 game is what it is. This fly, there's one fly that will not leave me alone in this house. We have a 9. We're blocking the bottom straight. We started this pretty shallow, so the queen is discounted. Nice. We get to see a flop here. I guess we're just gonna bluff. I don't know. I mean, I don't think he shouldn't really be in this pot at all as a limp, but maybe it'll work. You never know. Oh wow. Free roll. Free roll spot. We're going to limp against the Brazilian here with ace king because, you know, they love that. The Brazilianes, they love it. Yeah, Ram Ranch, it depends, buddy. That's, you know, the recommendation is a lot of ions, and that's not as many as you might think. Yeah, we're gonna play this hand. So over here on the left, we're gonna call obviously, but it feels pretty awful. Oh man, we obviously can't fold this, but it doesn't feel good. That's how downtrodden we've become, guys. We river ace king. We river a pair with ace king, and we're still sad about it. Wow. Nice river, bro. Man, that's really annoying. We put in a really nice chunky turn bet there as well, and he just gets there like it's nuttin'. Absolutely nuttin' there, mate. Nuttin'. Not a problem. No issue whatsoever. Easy, easy game for the 5-6. Calls turn. Calls big barrel turn with bottom pair, rivers 2 pair. Feels fantastic. Feels really, really fantastic. Ace 9, pretty good. We're going to bet here. Ten is a danger card, without a doubt. Sure, why not check? If he has an 8 or a 5, I think he tries to get to showdown here. Problem is, if he has a random 6 or a 7, he's probably supposed to turn his hand into a bluff as well. Barreling into a king is interesting. All right. Told you. Random 6. Random 6 spotted. Mandatory call on the right-hand side. The mandatory calls today are not so hot, chat. They're not doing the thing. Our mandatory calls are always behind. This is the mandatory shove as well. And we're dominated again. So it went shove, mandatory call. We don't have the best hand. And then it went mandatory shove, call. We don't have the best hand. Let's just double check this really quick. This is a 7 big blind jam. In fact, it's less than 7 big blinds. Let's mark that one for review because I don't really know what else we're supposed to do, guys. And it feels like, yes. I just feel like we're not on the right side of those enough. Okay. Right. Yeah, I agree with what Zintax is saying here, Ram Ranch. I think I do okay at spin and go, but I guess my question is, no matter my scale, if I have a low buy-in, is it survivable with the variance of spin and goes? Well, it's just, you just got to manage your bankroll better. Like you can start with a small bankroll and spin and goes, and then like, it was a quick call, wasn't it? Should I just go absolutely insane here, guys? Beautiful. You can start with like a small bankroll and then like have a really good run and then end up with like an appropriate bankroll for that stake. That's not insane. But if you consistently start with a small bankroll and expect that to sustain you, you're going to go bust eventually. Yeah, that's the whole point, right? That's the whole point of bankroll management in general in any format of poker. If you say, I want to play cash games, and you start with 4 buy-ins, there is a universe where those 4 buy-ins is enough for you to spin up a bankroll where you have, 100 buy-ins or something like that for that game. And then if you keep that bankroll at that level and you are consistent, if you're a consistent winner, then you should be kind of scot-free, assuming that you don't withdraw from the bankroll, right? Except for when you exceed the bankroll total that you're trying to target. in the event that if you take 4 buy-ins, spin it up. If you take 4 buy-ins, spin it up to 10 buy-ins, and then go spend all that money, you know, that's not going to be as good, because the next time you load up 4 buy-ins, there's a good chance you're going to go bust. You know, like I've got friends that just play poker casually. They play poker on the side, and they don't have a separate poker bankroll. But generally speaking, what I would say is that if you don't do that, it's very difficult for you to keep things square in your head. Like most people are incapable of like knowing whether or not they're winning at poker unless they're actually tracking it, or they have a separate pot of money that's specifically their poker bankroll that they're building, or they're doing whatever they're trying to accomplish with that. I think this is better. I think this is good. I think actually Ray's turn is best here because he's going to have spades or hearts or straight draws. I think this is actually much better. Okay, I guess we're calling. I'd be surprised if he has an ace. If he turns up with an ace, that's fine, but here we go. Yep, fair enough. So this is definitely something we note for future. It's not dissimilar from the previous call that we made a minute ago with the other guy. We are 10 big blinds effective, and our opponent has ace-4 of diamonds that he doesn't raise pre. That's fine, but it's also something that we want to note for future because the way we play that hand is predicated on that assumption. Let's do this one here. Limp pot did check back. Ace-4 suited versus limp. 10 effective X1. Cool. Live card's no good. I'm going to mark the King 10 for review. And I want to mark the Jack Deuce spot as well. All right. Game on the left is for $100. It's with our friend who just had the ace a moment ago. Stupid. Don't do that. Okay. There we go. Undersea Monk says, here's something fun. I just looked at my year-to-date spreadsheet, and my ROI for January was exactly to the 2 decimal places what my whole year's ROI is right now. Wow, that is specific. I could have saved myself 6.5 months, and that number would be would be just as ugly. I actually have a funny story about that too. I have a friend who plays PLO, very, very good, well-respected PLO player, and he, yeah, okay, cool. Can we stack him now? I feel like we deserve some justice after that last game. The combination draw: Ace, Queen, Diamond, King. Never. Fuck. Dude, it's just so tilting, guys. It's so tilting. Bro, what is this fucking run out, dude? What is this run out? We have the call lead strat, and it doesn't get punished. It's just immediately rewarded. So I have a buddy who plays PLO, very good PLO player, very respected in the community, and he obviously tracks all of his results very closely. For ages, he was doing these long sessions, and I can't remember the exact numbers or how it works, but the gist of it was when he did an analysis, of his results over the length of session played. So if he played like a 1-hour session or a 2-hour session or a 4-hour session or whatever, all of the sessions where he played for shorter stretches of time were almost twice as profitable as the sessions where he played longer. So had he have known that ahead of time, he could have literally made twice as much money. Doesn't work out exactly like that, but it's something like he would have had almost twice the win rate for half the amount of time expended. Of course, that is subject to issue because, you know, he's going to have a very large sample, but, you know, something like that might take a much larger sample to actually show like the truth of it. But the story checks out, right? Some people do better playing shorter sessions. That just makes sense. It's just humans. So I think probably there was a lot of truth to it. The actual figure in the end is up for debate. He probably wouldn't have won twice as much playing half as much, but I would be surprised if he I would be surprised if it wasn't considerably more. Okay, this is fine to fold. This is also fine to fold. Zintex says, Nick, you just had too many outs. What else do you expect other than a total brick on the river? It's nothing, mate. I don't expect anything anymore. But there's wisdom in that. There's wisdom in that. We need to rise above this shit, man. We've had a very frustrating year playing spins. You guys have been here for almost all of it. You guys have seen almost all of it. I really don't want to just fucking sit here and cry on stream every day, but like, we need to be better than that. We need to rise above it. We need to like play harder. In these circumstances, it's not enough just to expect that we're going to win these spots because we should. Like, we need to actually just play harder. We need to put in more effort. This guy is limp calling 6 bigs with 8 high. Not ideal, sir. Like, I think there's a lot of wisdom in that statement, right? We cannot expect the deck to give us anything because that's not how it works for us. In fact, it's very frequently the other way around, which means we need to make the chips up somewhere else. We need to make these chips up in other areas. We need to put red line through the roof because blue line is doing fuck all for us this year. Absolutely fuck all. If blue line isn't going to comply, red line needs to take over, and that's where we're at. We get a gift over here, and it turns out it's just ace king. The deck isn't helping. The deck is not going to come save us, chat. The deck does not give a shit about NickWalshTV. So we're going to need to turn it on here. We're going full aggro. This is the only way we succeed. We cannot wait for the blue line to help us because it's gone now. That's it. From now on, it's red line only. Forget about blue line. I'm not interested in winning at showdown. We're going to have to red line the shit out of this. Boom, red line right there. Undersea Monkey says totally checks out. I know when I was grinding live cash full time, my effectiveness would diminish over a long session. So the tricky thing about cash in general is, especially live cash, it's in fact specifically live cash. A lot of times you get there early evening, the game kind of starts, you know most of the people at the table. Obviously this depends where you are. If you're in Vegas or something, it's different, right? But it's usually the case you sit down and everyone's kind of feeling each other out a little bit. Everyone's trying to work out where they're at. And then as people get chatting, as the game loosens up a little bit, that's the point at which you need to get ace 4 suited all in. Nice. Not nice at all. See, showdown no good. Showdown no good. We just need the EV and that's it. So usually when you play live cash, you get there, the game kind of starts, it's kind of chill, whatever. The game, the time when you win the most money in a live cash game is when everyone gets a bit excited, the drinks are kind of flowing a little bit more. You have aces in the big blind, but you never win. Chat! Let's go. And so as a result, the long session, being able to play long sessions in that configuration is actually very powerful in a live cash setting because not much is going to happen. Some of the short stacks will sorry guys, some short stacks might show up or whatever, and then they kind of dust off their stack. That kind of goes to the rake anyway. then some of the guys show up and they've been on a night out and now they want to play like higher and they like, okay, do you guys want to up the stakes? There's kind of this crescendo to the evening, and very often a lot of the money is won and lost at the very end. So being able to sit there and duke it out for a long session in a live setting is probably very good. Now, in the UK, for the most part, that's how the games work, right? Early evening start, the game plays until 4, and then the casino closes or the game finishes or whatever. But if you are in somewhere like the United States where they might have a game running like almost 24 hours, especially in a place like Vegas, it's a totally different animal, right? Because you can sit and play poker 24 hours a day. So knowing when to quit those games is one thing. When in the UK, I would say that like the games that I play in very often have a natural conclusion to them. Or at the very least, people feel as though they need to make the most of the time that they're given. So that has a different energy to it. But yeah. Millionaire Mojo says, serious question. Are there any raise adjustments you can make when shorter stack to adjust for low win frequency, win rate when shoving, or is that going too far off theory? We're going to bluff. We are going to bluff. And then we're going to bluff again. This time we're going to bet full pot riv. Red line. Oh, he has a straight. Fair enough. Are there any raise adjustments you can make when short stacked to adjust for low win frequency, win rate when shoving, or is that going too far? I'm not sure I understand the question, mate. Are there any raise adjustments? What do you mean by raise adjustments? Cool. All right, so does he have a queen? I don't think so. I don't think he has a queen. And so therefore I still have the best hands. So I guess we have to shove and hope he calls with Jack 10. Lose a flip. Lose the flip, obviously. Running to ace jack, obviously. What else do you expect, Nick? Is it safe to drink beer and play spin and goes, or does it degrade performance heavily? Do not recommend you drink and play poker of any kind. I can count on one hand the number of people that I know personally who are better players when they drink than they are when they don't. And I know millions of people who seem to think that they are, and they're definitely not. Don't mix the two. Don't do it. Do as I say, not as I do. Pair of nines might be good. Maybe a 2.5x for folds instead of pure jams. Playing post flop with middle of a range, etc. I'm just trying to think of ways to try and combat how bad you've been running. What you're describing is already part of the strategy, though, mate. I've noticed how defeated you seem when some of these streams, and I'm wondering if there's a different way to play some hands. I appreciate that, mate. That's very kind of you to think like that way. But what you're describing is probably already part of the strategy to a certain degree. I also know when I have a period of losing all-ins constantly, it can affect my mental game. I mean, the mental game is affected for sure. We've definitely improved over the last 12 months or so, a lot. This is the toughest field that I've ever played, though, like in my entire career, which is kind of interesting considering that I've played much higher stakes previously. Or at the very least, that's probably not true to say. I would say maybe we've played similarly tough fields, but it was a completely different game where there was a lot more play, right? There was a lot more game back in when we were playing reg speeds. So a lot more of it is just down to straight card distribution now, which we're on the wrong side of. I think there is probably opportunities to do some of what you're describing, like as an exploit. Some of that already exists. We're already doing a certain degree of that. Like we're not just playing push fold, right? We've got other moves versus limps, other moves in position. Look, put it this way. I asked Texas Tomo a while back, maybe a month ago, maybe 2 months ago. I asked him to have a look at my database. So basically what he's done is he's plugged in my database and had a look at my frequencies in different positions. And he has a reference where he can basically spot whether or not we're doing certain things too much, certain things too little, and it's broken down into very, 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 very like minute granular detail. So that means he knows, am I folding too much to turn bets in single raise pots? Am I betting too frequently on the turn in limps pots? Am I three betting too much? Am I three betting too little? All these things. And he's looking at the list and he's going, this is all good, man. This is solid. He goes, the only thing he spotted was I have a tendency to lead rivers after it goes back, bet, check, bet. Or sorry, when it goes bet, call, check, check, I have a tendency to lead in those situations. But again, that's like such a very, very specific random metric. And that might be a place where I can improve. In fact, there's probably lots of places I can improve. But that's not enough. You know, there was nothing in there that was basically him going, oh, cool. Like, you know, you're definitely not winning enough from this position, or you're definitely not whatever, right? We all have room to improve. Everybody can get better at poker all the time, even the best. But even under Texas Tomo's very keen eye, what we're doing is majority good. I appreciate where you're coming from, though, but for the most part, the way that we're applying things is going to be probably best. I mean, our GTO score as well is, you know, high 80s or whatever. So, you know, the majority of the adjustments we're making against GTO, the majority of the loss there as well is usually for exploit purposes in the first place. But appreciate your thought process. I thank you for your support. Do many of the poker community drink and play poker? Yeah, sure. I would say there's quite a few people that will enjoy a drink and then, you know, possibly play cards, but it's not something that we recommend at all. And I would say, look, like I said to you, I'm not going to sit here and recommend it. I'm also not going to sit here and tell you that I've never had a drink and played poker before, but just trust me when I say pretty much nobody benefits from drinking while playing poker. Everyone, I'll have the number of people I know, the number of people I know personally, the number of people that I have met, and they'll be like, oh, you know, I like to have a couple beers before you play because, you know, loosens you up and all that. And you're like, okay, fine, bro. Like, whatever works for you, fine, go for it. And then I proceed to watch them play some of the worst poker I've ever seen, and it's definitely because they've been drinking, and not just they were bad before and now they sucked afterward. Like, it's not like they were bad to begin with and then they were just bad while under the influence. Like, they just were obviously visibly worse at the game as they were drinking. Like I said, I know maybe like 4 people, maybe 5 people who I have seen heavily intoxicated and still playing like world-class poker. In my entire professional career, as somebody who travels around the world to play poker with people and to meet people and to do commentary on major events where there's thousands of entrants, I can think of like 5 people right now where I would be like, it's okay, they can have a drink. Like, it's not gonna affect their play. Like, they're murderers, right? Everybody else, maybe not everybody else, but most people are. It's just not good, dude. Don't do it. I can highly recommend you don't do that. All right. Let's play 2 more spinning goes, guys. Today is not going well, I'm afraid. No, I really appreciate that, Mojo, as well. I think it's very kind of you to think of me in that vein, and I'm absolutely not sitting here and saying, oh my God, we're like the best player in the world. I can't believe we're not winning, right? Like, we definitely have so many places we can improve. And I'm absolutely certain that the more that we study, the more we're going to improve over time. And I think that's very important. I'm not crying. I'm not frustrated because I think that we're like a super genius and we're just getting unlucky. Like, we definitely could play better, and there's definitely things we could do differently that would benefit our bottom line. And that's what we hope to do in these streams, right? But yeah, I do feel frustrated again, if I'm being honest with myself. And I think being honest with yourself in poker is actually very important. Ben says, do you get coaching from Tomo regularly? Watching your streams has helped my game a lot, and I think the explanations you give for decisions, even if the result is negative, is always solid. I really appreciate that, but thank you for saying that. And I do sincerely hope that, you know, my tuition is still of value. It should be. I mean, I've got long-term results to back that up, right? Just because we're having a rough time right now, I've got many years of very plus EV results that I can show. I don't get coached from Tomo. I need to be clear on that. Tomo is sorry, one second. Tomo is Team 651, and therefore he coaches people for Team 651. I've never received one-to-one coaching with Tomo. I need to be very clear on that because I think that would be doing him a disservice if his students thought that, you know, he was doing me a favor. We're mates, we're friends, we're poker buddies, and as a result, he has looked over some of my data. He's somebody that I massively trust because he's coached so many people and he's taught so many people to be really, really good at poker, and specifically spinning goes as well. And for that reason, you know, he sort of said, look, if you want, you can send me across your data and I'll just give you a top down. I'll give you the MOT of what I would do with a new student, you know, just in case there's anything that really sticks out. So I sent across my details. I sent across my database and he put it into his clever little spreadsheet machine thing that he built himself and the team built. And he was like, this is good. You're playing very well. You're playing very solidly. Your frequencies are definitely within range. In fact, he compared many of my frequencies to like the pool frequencies and not just GTO, which is also useful because it means that if good players are similarly unbalanced against GTO, it means it's probably good against pool in general. But he's never given me one-to-one coaching as such. He's been a good friend and he's helped me out. And we've had some conversations during the downswing I'm experiencing now. And he's had a look at the database, but no, I've never been coached from him. I would be so lucky though. I think Tomo is a very, very, very kind person. I think he's a true gent. I like him a lot as a friend, and I think I respect him a lot as a poker player. I think he's a fantastic poker player. And who knows, maybe one day I will join the elusive 651 team. The mythic Team 651. Perhaps they will take me on. We have a combination draw, chat. We have a combination draw, chat. Okay, well, we obviously have to call. This size is way too small for us to fold. The combo draw. I must impress upon you guys that we have a combination draw. Yes! That is more like it. Thank you, sir. Okay, we made a combo draw. Reset the timer. Reset. We need to get one of those signs in the background, you know, like the workplace accidents or whatever. Like there have been 0 workplace accidents for X months or X days or whatever. We need to get one of those for combo draws. We can design that. We could AI that design, get that printed up with a whiteboard. That'd be kind of cute, right? We definitely played this hand stupid, by the way, on the right hand side there. I was chatting shit, so we played it bad. I would have checked flop bet turn, I think. No. Quizfu says, I made a profit in every cash game session at the Goliath this year, and then I lost it all when I started drinking on the last day. Oh dear, not ideal. Not ideal. There you go. There you go. As I said, guys, like I'm not sitting here preaching like I'm some pinnacle of virtue. I've had some drinks and I've played some poker, but it's just not good, guys. It's not ideal. It's not what you want to do, especially if you are trying to improve your poker and you're trying to, you know, remember the spots that you want to review later on and, you know, all this good stuff. It's just not good. Jaker said, Tomo is a good streamer too. Very funny and clever. He's a funny guy, dude. I really like Tomo. I'm very pleased that our paths crossed when they did. And actually, I would love to work more with Texas Tomo in the future. At the moment, we're kind of working on very different things, right? I'm doing PokerStars stuff. He's very much in the trenches with his students, as he should be. Like, that's obviously his main focus, is to improve his team and work with his team and to lift those guys up. You know, in the future, if I end up having a little bit more free time, in the future, I would love to figure out if we could do some business together. Maybe even just, you know, get some coaching straight up. I don't know what to do now. I guess we're supposed to min raise fold. Let me take a, we'll mark that one for review too. This is a spot that we are almost definitely still learning. These min check raises at those on those flops. We were looking at those during a session, yesterday's session. Yesterday's study sesh. There's a chance that because we have the 7, we're supposed to call more often. I think maybe because we have the 7, we're supposed to flat there more. But if we have like just the 5 with a good kicker or a low kicker, we raise more, possibly. I could be completely wrong, but we'll see. Crazy. We have a queen. I think it'd be cool to do a challenge with Tomo. So we did actually have Tomo on. We did. I beat Tomo in the Spin and Go Showdown, in fact, that we put on some time ago. So it was me, Texas Tomo, Adam, Rory, all those guys. We did the Spin and Go Showdown. He ended up in the finals, and I beat him in the finals. Now I'm not gonna go out. I'm not gonna try and make out like the streamer showdown finals were anything that I should be particularly like, oh my god, I'm the greatest poker player of all time. Obviously, it was just a couple games to decide the fate of the entire event. But we have had him on before. Do this. But I would love to do more work with Tomo, absolutely. We made a little bit there on the river. He calls us with a 4. Beep, 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 beep. Sensitive Tony says, with the earlier hand where he bluff value shove queen 7 versus your bottom pair, can we reverse engineer it in GTO Wiz from his perspective? Yeah, not really. Not really. I think I've marked it, so we're gonna take a look at it anyway, Tony. But it's like it's a very good example of where I don't think GTO plays like that ever, so it's not really gonna show us all that much. But having said that, we have legitimately, said that before, then looked something up and then found something else. So I've got it marked for review. We'll take a look after these games, probably. We'll take a look after these games because we can always give it a go. The issue that we have, Tone, is that probably Queen 7 is never supposed to lead that flop ever. Because on the flop it went, he leads, right? That was the whole point. But we were super shallow. Okay. Pair of 2s. Jack 9, LFG. Okay, let's finish up this game, then we'll do some review. Stream tomorrow as well, guys. 2 p.m. UK. We're gonna take another shot at this thing they call Spin and Goes. How does that work? Let me do some math here. $250,000 cleared. $250,000 times 0.06. That makes sense. Yeah. Okay, cool. That makes sense. All right, 5 and a 4. Jaker says, are you still talking to Spraggy about the challenge? Yeah, so we've already kind of discussed it. I think we kind of know what we want to do, but we're waiting until after Barcelona, obviously, because that's a big milestone and everyone's going to be very busy working on that. So at the moment, it looks like it might be Spraggy, myself, and Seb. So we might actually go make it a three-way challenge. At the moment, it looks like what we're going to try and do is a set number of games over the course of a single day. So maybe like 400 games or so, or something like that over the course of 8 hours or whatever the number is. And we're going to track all the data, all the results, and then we'll pick a winner. And then we were thinking about maybe doing like best of 3, like maybe we'll do that over 3 days or something like that. I'm not sure how to space it out. Like, I don't know if it makes sense to do like 3 8-hour days in a row, but maybe for the sake of the content, that's better. Could go the distance as well, I suppose. And also, I don't know how that works if there's 3 of us, right? If it's myself, Spraggy, and Seb, I'm not sure how you do best of 3. I don't know. We need to think about it more, but like that's kind of the idea right now, I think. Wade says, thanks as always, Nick, for the stream. See you tomorrow. All right, nice one. I mean, don't go anywhere, though, bud. We're going to do some review after this. We have loads of hands to cover as well. I've got a page full of hands. I think loads of it is post-flop as well, so this could take us some time. That's kind of why I'm going to wrap this up sooner rather than later. Oh, it's a chop pot. See that, guys? Everyone loves a chop pot. Everyone absolutely loves a chop pot, guys. I'm going to mark the 10-5 for review. I'm pretty sure it's just Nash. There's not really too much science behind it. We just have to call with the right range. Jack 5 is not a push. I'm not sure why I just did that. I definitely autopiloted that wrong. That was not meant to be an all-in. That's our mistake, actually. That's fair. That's on us. Don't know why I did that. It's not a million miles off, but it's not the right push. All right, sweet. So, review. So first things first, let's take a look at our results so far this year. Oops, that's not the wrong button, guys. Sorry. So, the chips are going up. We're winning chips. We're winning some EV. Today we didn't, but overall, yes, we are. So far this month, pretty much breaking even in EV. We've had some big swings up and down. We're actually down nearly $2,000 just this month alone. We're running pretty far under expectation here. I don't know how this number is calculated. Ignore this. I really hate. I've actually asked them to remove this completely because I don't think it works. I don't think it makes sense. But it doesn't matter. Overall, we're just not doing very well this month. We have played a decent amount of volume this month overall towards our challenge total, but like I said, we're just still kind of stuck in the doldrums here. Let's just focus on the long term for now. So let's do some review. So I'm going to close up PokerStars now. And so now any additional work that we do is within TOS, right? So if we're going to open up some programs and whatever, we're going to do it now with PokerStars turned off, which is what everyone should be doing because you don't want to get in trouble for breaching TOS, okay? Mojo said, where's Joe and James when you need them for the rendition of Everyone Loves a Chop Pot? Exactly. Where are those guys? All right, we have a lot of hands to cover here, so let's just kick off right into it. Again, PokerStars is closed, so if we open any advanced study material, it's perfectly legal. Perfectly legal, not illegal. We shove king deuce suited here. Opponent calls and we lose. Cool. This is going to be a straightforward one. I'm going to fire up GTO Wizard for the first time today. I pay for the Ultra account so that I can do some cool wizardry like this. I think this is actually available for most people, but this is fine. I'm not sure why we're looking up this hand. This shows you how frustrated we are right now. If we're looking up stupid shit like this, that's definitely an all-in. Queen 4 suited. We check. Our opponent checks, we lead, our opponent calls, and on the river, we check, our opponent bets, and we call. This is a very interesting spot. My intention was to bluff the turn, bluff the river with the 4 blocker where we're blocking the straight. Our opponent has not bet the flop, and very frequently when they don't bet this board, they will have high cards, or they might have a 3 or a 2 or something like that. So as played, I think this is actually a very nice line. So when we arrive on this river, we're going to have the best hand most of the time. The other thing to remember here is if your opponent has a flush draw on this board, they almost always bet it because very, very, very often they will have at least one overcard to the board with their flush draw. So if he has Queen 4 of hearts here, not only does he, Queen 4 of hearts, yeah, that's what I meant. If he has that, not only does he have the backdoor straight draw and the flush draw, but also the overcard, which gives people, you know, a lot of equity, and people don't shy away from betting with equity. Basically, the fact that it runs out the hearts means that our opponent almost never has a flush here. Theoretically, we can actually confirm whether or not that's true. I wouldn't be surprised if like ace high, king high flush draws might check this flop some of the time. But like I said, from a humanistic perspective, people just want to get money in the middle. They have a beautiful hand. They have a beautiful draw. Why not? That makes sense. Of course, it's never going to be bad. So just cool, whatever. Let's take a look. Sorry, you guys got to see the rest of the hand as well, because this is what I'm talking about right now. On the river, we check. We're not checking because we think we're losing. We're checking because we want him to bluff, and we're checking because we want him to value bet with worse. And he has literally Queen 5 somehow. And if it doesn't come a queen on the river, there's a good chance we can still get this hand to fold if we bluff again. So again, a very frustrating situation for us. Let's see if GTO Wizard agrees with the line. I'm not that concerned about this being correct because the river play will probably be different. But as played, I'm expecting them to want to bet the queen. And this just goes so far towards exactly what we're talking about. The last few months, we've been in a pretty good pattern of playing a session, trying our best, mostly, and doing some review. And in the circumstances where we look up things, the intention is not always to get full marks up here. We're not trying to be Mr. Computer. What we're trying to say is we want to understand what baseline is doing and why, and we want to have a good reason for why we think we should deviate. And on this river, I know for sure that GTO is going to want to bet the queen. I'm not plugging this in with the expectation that our opponent is going, that this is going to be 4 ticks every time or 5 ticks or whatever. I would say that this river specifically is probably a very well executed exploit because people will attack this river more than they should. So we've done this intentionally. The fact that the river deviates is whatever. That's fine. The issue that you encounter if you don't bet this and their opponent is playing perfect GTO is they will check back a lot of their high cards where, you know, people will probably bluff them more often. They might even try and get really thin with their value bets here too. So this is all kosher, but I want to go back to the very start here. Let's go back to the beginning. Pre-flop is good. We're going to check this pretty much every time. On the flop, check is fine. On the turn, we can see that you can do a lot. You can do pretty much anything here. You have a nice straight draw. And that means that we can really get away with whatever. We opted for lead for 2, which is fine. That happens 18.7% of the time. And as a result, we arrive here now with the queen. 6 big blinds, obviously a call, and we're losing to queen 5, like whatever. What's up, Crush Equity? Good to see you. All good, mate. We do hand review at the end of every stream, or almost all streams. Anyway, again, just very happy with the way I play this hand. Like I said, our intention here is to exploit river, so that's why we're deviating, but that's good otherwise. Jack 4, our opponent bets. So we've been looking a lot at these spots. These sort of rainbow ace high textures are very specific. The issue that you have when your opponent is betting here is almost all of their aces are going to be played aggressively pre-flop. Theoretically, they might still have a couple combinations of trap, but almost all of the aces are going to be all in. This guy is a reg. He's going to follow the rules. Therefore, our expectation of their frequencies is going to be pretty accurate, right? So when we face a one big blind bet here, I believe we are check raising the 4-2. And I'm assuming that when we get shoved on, we're supposed to go broke here. I mean, the point being that we can actually get shoved on here by worse fours, which is obviously part of it. The problem that I have with this strategy is that, you know, your opponents will still have 5s and 6s and 7s and 8s and 9s and 10s and jacks and queens and kings. But I think it is kind of what it is. Now, this is still a relatively new strategy for me, so we might get this one wrong, but I think this is where we're supposed to be. There's a wider conversation to be had about this. Okay, so let's take a look. Pre-flop, so far so good. We can do some shoving, we can do some checking. This is fine. On the flop, we're facing a 1. They want us just to shove flop, basically. Okay, so we are thinking about this along the right lines. And this is why it's important to drill down into the spots. We're not just looking for ticks. We want to understand what we're doing specifically. So our energy is good. Our vibe is good. Our understanding is strong. We understand that we want to put more chips in. However, on this occasion, the way that we put them in as a check shove. Let's go one step further. Let's take a look at the actual check shove range, because if we're shoving this hand, I'm assuming that we're supposed to do the same thing with our straight draws. There are no straight draws. Sorry, 3-5 is the flop straight, right? Maybe 5-6. Maybe 5-6 is supposed to check jam. That's probably not crazy. Let's take a look. So if we filter for the all-ins, yeah, so 6-5 is here. 6-5 is exactly the combo we thought it was. 7-5 is actually going to be played this way as well. So this is the check jam with the gut shot. So this is the ace 2, 3, 4, 5 gut shot. The same for 8-5. So really, this is fascinating because we're obviously just getting the 4 in, which is understandable because min check raising it feels pretty gross, even though, you know, we've kind of understood that we're supposed to be piling more money in. Getting this in with 5 deuce is a thing. Getting this in with 5-4 is a thing. Getting this in with 4-3 is a thing. Okay, basically, we're shallow. We've connected. Our opponent is very capped in this situation. It's better as a jam. I think this is a really important one. I think at this stack depth, we have a tendency to play these very vulnerable, but often the best hand spots very, very passively. We started this hand 8 big blinds effective. This was played as a limp. And after a 1 big blind bet, we are still confidently shoving all of our second pairs here. And gut shots. And overcards with gut shots as well. This is pretty spicy, man. This is actually really, really interesting. And this is probably a spot where we're going to leak a fair amount. Because if we're always playing a 4 or a deuce as a call, we are almost definitely putting ourselves in situations to be bluffed on later streets, which is very costly, right? Because if we call a 1 big blind bet and we fold on a later street, we're not only putting in our big blind, but we're also putting in 1 more big blind after that. And that is going to be effectively about 25% of our entire starting stack. We start this hand at 8 big blinds effective. And after we've called a 1 big blind bet, because we're in the big blind, right? We've put in our big blind for 1 big blind. We've called the 1 big blind. That's 25% of our stack. That's a huge amount. And we probably are not aggressive enough in these particular situations. Now, it's not good enough for us to just say, every time I have second or third pair, I'm going to just shove on this board. Because not all boards are the same. So if, for example, we take a look at ace jack deuce, it's going to be very different, right? There's no shoving now. You can see it just immediately evaporates. The reason why we had the shoves on that board, and I'm saying this out loud to try and memorize it myself. We're looking for boards where our opponents are heavily capped They're representing hands that they are very unlikely to have. And we have a hand that is likely the best hand, but doesn't want to see a turn. And we're shallow enough to check shove it for 6 more big blinds or whatever it is, right? So by the time our opponent has put in, it's 2 big blinds and then it's 4. So there's 4 big blinds in the middle and we've got 6 behind. We're just a smidge over pot. So as a general rule, if we default now in those situations to let's get our hands in the middle, like when we meet those conditions, that's cool. But now if we look at this board, this is going to play similarly to the way that I was describing, or the way that I was previously playing this in the actual game itself. So I was playing this as a min check raise because it was second pair on an ace high board, but you can see now over here, that's exactly what we're going to do, but we're going to do it in situations where we have a less vulnerable hand that is almost definitely the best hand most of the time. And we are trying to get more value from the draws. We're trying to get more value from the deuce. We're trying to protect the equity of our hand, you know, against random stuff that can get lucky if we just call a single bet here. So the concept here, very good. When it's ace jack deuce, the min check raises are a lot more natural, right? Because anytime you're on a board like this, you know that you're going to want to check raise with your gut shots most of the time. So we can see 5-4, for example, is a check raise. 4-3 is a check raise. So it's easy to understand where you balance here because you're going to do it with the hands that can improve with 1 card, or with, in this case, with a gut shot with 4 cards to come, 4 cards to make your straight. But then also, you know, we're allowed to then check raise with our jack X. We're going to do it with the deuce once in a while. We can see the deuce X actually wants to min check raise here too. So previous lessons, previous studies have taught us the correct thing. We're applying it incorrectly. And now what we've learned is actually this is going to be on boards more like this. This is a very common spot. We are absolutely not doing this enough. And we are going to do it better now. And also we're going to understand how we want to approach those low boards as well, which is really good. 8 big blinds effective, by the way. 8 big blinds effective. Now, furthermore, just to take this one step further, guys, I want to impress upon you the importance of 8 big blinds heads up. If you are 8 big blinds heads up, and we go back to the very start, you can see that there is still a considerable amount. There is still a considerable amount of hands that we play, and we're still playing a somewhat trappy strategy. At 8 big blinds effective, we're still limping 5s as a trap. We're still limping, you know, a lot of our suited hands. We're playing most of the deck in the suited category. We're folding our absolute garbage down here, but we're still in there of trapping that happens still too. As soon as we get down to 7, let me actually just show you. If we do 7 and 6, I'll show you the difference because it's very, very drastic. 7, a lot changes. At 7 big blinds effective, we start to play a lot more push fold and we have much less traps. And then if we make this one 6 big blinds effective, it changes again. So this is 8, 7, 6. So just going again, look at how much action we have here. Look at our range. Now look at our range here. All of a sudden, all of this wants to be all in more. We're still going to be in there. There's still some hands at 7 that we're limping, but most of this is being played very face up. And once we get to 6, boom. Suddenly, this is basically just push fold with a couple traps because we want to have 8s and 9s and 10s and jacks in there. Does everyone play like this? No. However, and this is so important because there's a lot of people out there that are going, oh, GTO is useless, blah, blah, blah. GTO, that would never work in the games I play in because blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You're being an idiot. I'm not saying that GTO, baseline GTO applies to every circumstance because it just doesn't. That's not the point of what GTO is. That's not the point of any of these charts. The point is that if your opponents are not playing a strategy that looks like this, way more often than not, they will be owning themselves. Okay? They might deviate from this, that's fine. But the further that they deviate from this and the worse that they apply that deviation post-flop, it will almost always result in them winning less chips, in fact, winning negative chips, as opposed to you winning chips against them. So poker being a zero-sum game, it's not necessarily important that your opponents are executing the strategy perfectly. If you're aware of the fact that they're not, you can anticipate that and you can adjust your strategy accordingly. However, your opponents will almost always be losing chips simply by existing and doing things differently than this. And that's good for you. And that's passive. It's like a passive ability. You're just going to do better than your opponents because they don't know this, basically. Okay? So anyway, the point I'm trying to make over here with this strategy is on this board, executing this min check raise strategy that we're looking at over here where we're raising to 2, executing this strategy is actually going to be very powerful. Much more powerful than other circumstances where GTO suggests things, because this is basically just going to be based on the fact your opponents will still turn up with a lot of stuff that looks like this. Now, it becomes stronger the shallower we go, right? So if we can almost always assume that our opponent doesn't have an ace on this board, you can imagine that once we get to this board now at 7, it's even stronger. The discount is even greater than it was when we were playing for 8 big blinds. And that's very important because now once we get to 7, the same strategy will exist, but it's probably going to happen even more often. So this is a check raise at 24.5%. And then this will be a check raise now at 21.5%. So similarly, oh, sorry, this is right, 22.5%. I was looking at the wrong one. So similarly on this board, we're just going to do really, really well by getting more chips in with these hands. And we're also going to do a fair amount of equity denial. A lot of people will just auto bet ace jack deuce and they'll fold to any aggression, especially if you have a deuce, you're doing really well because opponents will not float with the queen highs and the king highs and all that stuff they're supposed to do here. Just out of interest, if we do check raise to 2 here, let's take a look at what calls. Yeah, so like queen 3, queen 4 is supposed to call, jack 4 is supposed to call some of the time. Obviously, the king highs are supposed to be in here as well. The king queen suited is like very, very obvious. The queen 10s, the queen 9s. Queen 9 suited is supposed to call here against the check raise. A lot of players will just miss that one completely. In any case, there we go. We've covered this one. That's fun. Really, really interesting one, though. I think we've learned a lot there, too. So this was an all-in for 4 big blinds and we called with 10-6 off. Is this stupid? Is this really stupid, chat? I don't know. We're about to find out. No, it's the perfect play, but we never have the best hand. Cool. 7-5. We are facing a min raise. We call. I wanted to look at the call here. We actually ended up raising this flop. I think this is good. I think this is good. I might be wrong. The 7-5 might be a fold pre-flop, but I'm pretty sure against the min raise we call. Yeah, cool. Pre-flop is good. On the flop, we can do a mix of whatever. I think raising or calling is fine. I think the raise is actually probably very cute. Good stuff. 10-8, there's a limp, and we raise to 3. This will happen 20% of the time or whatever. Our opponent calls, we arrive here, we bet big, they fold. I honestly have no idea if we played this hand well or not. My instincts tell me that this is probably okay, but let's take a look. Doesn't feel great betting when there's a jack on the flop, but there we are. Okay, so pre-flop, limp. Interesting. Okay, cool. So actually, this is a hand that they would rather us shove. Let's take a look at this range, because this is unexpected. So this was a 13.5 big blinds facing a limp. Wait, what? Call. 10-8 offsuit, check or shove. Okay, so for some strange reason, this specific combination is being played as a shove. That's fine. Okay, that's unexpected. Probably not the end of the world. We raised to 3. This is fine. This is all part of the strategy. Whatever, fine, call. Okay, they want us to check this board. That's fair. If we are on this board in general, do we usually bet big, though, is the question, if we have a bet. Yes, so bet 3 is the most common size. So we're reaching for the correct size here. But 10-8 wants to check. And this is definitely where I think is tricky. So what does bet 3? Queen 8 wants to bet 3. King 8 wants to bet 3. King 9 wants to bet 3. They're still doing a lot of checking here, though, as well. All the 10s obviously want to bet. Pocket 10s wants to just bet there as well, but probably a mix of everything. Let's see the strategy here. Tens and nines want to bet quite big. If you have nines and you bet 3 and they shove, I guess you got to call. Yeah, story checks out. 10-8 isn't in there because it's shove free. Queen 8. Queen 8 wants to bet call. Okay, this is fine. Millionaire Mojo says, I don't know about 3xing the 10-8 there. I like the c bet once you do it, but it feels weird. So it's definitely part of the strategy. What we've found there specifically is that 10-8 wants to shove pre, but it's not really that far different from any other sort of gap connector here. We're not doing it always, Mojo. This is obviously part of our bluff strategy. So as you can see here, this raise to 3, it's, you know, these hands want to do it, but they just do it very sparingly. So it's not something we do often. I would usually check back 10-8. And 10-8 is also a hand that wants to check back a ton here, obviously, anyway. So we're randomizing these spots. We're not just sticking it in there with 10-8 because we feel like we're doing this about whatever. Ignore, let's say it's Jack 8. We're confused here because 10-8 is being played as a shove here when it's actually raised. Jack 8, for example, wants to be raised about 26% of the time. That was our approximate expectation. And even though the all-in here is 27, you can see where my thought process is. And the EV will be the same, I imagine. If we look at the EV of a jam for 10-8 offsuit, it's 0.83, and the EV of the raise for the 3 is 0.83. So it's identical in value, which is why the actual raise still exists. But we're doing it sometimes. We're doing it for balance. We're doing it against regs. We're not going to do it against fish. You can do it against fish that you think are very tight. It's going to be very good against those players. Against the average random fish, you're going to want to be very selective with the way that you do this. And you can almost always afford to just raise the top, like the top of your range, because they're not going to know what balance looks like. Anyway, this is fine. This is okay. It's hard to get a beat on it, but there we go. All right, so this is a limp and a check. We ended up betting. Our opponent min checks us. We min raises. We call on the turn. They shove, and I think we're priced into call here. Just out of interest, I think when we plug this in, I think there's a good chance Queen 9 is supposed to check flop here. The raise, the bet on the flop was meant to be an exploit. We ended up exploiting ourselves, unfortunately. But let's see what we can learn, because I do think that I'm anticipating that we check the flop with Queen 9 suited. We have reasons, but I'm assuming that we fucked up the flop according to GTO, but I still like the line against the random. It's going to be a check. Yep, as expected, that's fine. Once we arrive here, there's not enough data. We can ignore the rest of it because it's not really solved at that point. Call, check, bet, fold. I think this is fine. I'm not sure if there will be a solve for this one. Crush Equity says, does all of this apply to a normal MTT final table final 3? So kind of yes, kind of no. Everything that happens at a final table, assuming that it's a normal final table where there's a first, a second, and a third, and there's sequential pay jumps that aren't too big, there will be ICM applied. However, using this as a baseline is very, very, very smart and very. It's a good place to start. If you want to really master the hardest positions in poker, which are, you're supposed to, the button should be the easiest to play, but it's the spot where you should be winning the most. So if you're not playing it well, you're not maximizing your wins from that position, which is ridiculously important. The small blind is probably the hardest position to play at the table, and then the big blind is probably the second. Playing spin and goes will make you exceptionally good at learning spots from a chip EV perspective. We call it chip EV. That's basically, what would you do if you're just going to play for the maximum chips? When we play tournament poker, we now know that a better way to approach the game is to solve for what you would do in chips, and then make adjustments to what you would do in chips based on the risk premium. So basically, without knowing how it works at all, and obviously like not being a mathematician, in essence, there are other programs that will calculate how we are supposed to approach the hands that we have and the hands that we are dealt based on our stack depth and the stack depths of our opponents. So a good example of that is we are not going, if we're at a final table and we're in the final 6 players or whatever, we're not going to want to get involved with marginal hands where one player is ultra short stacked, because we might get a ladder for free. If there are 2 players at the table who have 1 big blind and somebody puts you all in and you have pocket queens, you're going, oh, I mean, I've got queens. That's a really good hand. I should always call here. But you're almost always guaranteed that the 2 players are going to bust for free, and you will ladder for free, risk free, and you can guarantee yourself 2 ladders. So suddenly it could be the case that you're supposed to fold like kings, you know, that's a very rare circumstance. But in an example where you're at a final table, there's $1 million for first and there's pay jumps all the way down to 9th or something. Let's say you're in the final 4, the final 5, and 3 players have 1 big blind. The amount that you're supposed to fold is absolutely ludicrous, right? If one of the big stacks puts you all in and you're second in chips or something, you're supposed to just fold the deck, because there's no point risking your tournament life, because you can ladder for free. It's usually not that straightforward. It's very complicated, and I'm definitely not an ICM wizard, but learning this is a great starting point, Crush Equity. And then you go on to do the next level, which is to study the ICM. But if you already know this, right, you already know what you can do by instinct. You just memorize like tons of these spots. It should be usually somewhat obvious as to how you approach the ICM spots. Now, that's a simplification. It's absolutely true to say that ICM has some ludicrous, very unintuitive changes and adjustments that you're supposed to make. So if you learn this very well and you find yourself on a final table and you understand the basic mechanics of ICM, for the most part, you can kind of extrapolate what you're supposed to do. That's stage 1. There's way more time that you can put into it, and you can learn way more than that as well. And that's probably an oversimplification, but I think that is basically true. Nice one, mate. Well, I'm glad to have you here, Crush. Thank you for hanging with me. I'm happy to answer your questions. Yeah, this is fine. I don't know why I'm looking this up. I guess that's pretty straightforward. Okay, cool. So call and a check. Check. I bet the turn. I think this is fine. I wouldn't be surprised if GTO just wants to bet the flop, but like I don't think that makes sense. Well, let's see. Yeah. On the flop, they want you to be balanced here. They want you to bet 1 big. This is exactly why I'm looking this hand up, because I do anticipate, my anticipation is we are supposed to bet this flop. Do I care? Probably not. This will be strictly balanced. I mean, ace deuce deuce is a board that we're going to bet basically all the time, 100%. So what they really kind of want you to do here is bet 9s and then call check raises. Like, your opponent is supposed to check raise you here with like the 3-4 and like the 4-5. They're supposed to check raise you here with like backdoor flush draws as well. If we take a look, I mean, I could be wrong, but my anticipation is, let's say that we do decide to bet 1. The check raise here is probably going to be, it's not loads, it's not frequent, but it's more than you'd think. It's 38.7% of the time you're supposed to get check raised here. So 11 big blinds effective in a limped pot. It comes ace deuce deuce, and you're supposed to min check raise this board 38.7% of the time. Like, this is mental, right? So some of the value of betting 9s is in anticipation of your opponent raising this aggressively, which is like not going to happen. So I'd say probably playing it slow has a different kind of merit. It's not a particularly vulnerable pair. So like I would probably feel better about betting like pocket 4s here than I would about pocket 9s. But you guys can see that it's important that we do the work afterwards, because we have to understand why we're supposed to do a certain thing. Number 1, it's for balance for sure. Like ace deuce deuce is, it's a board we're going to bet as a bluff, so we have to have our strong hands in there too. But also, if your opponent is supposed to check raise like this aggressively, it's, you know, it's funny. It's funny. This is good. I mean, at least our expectations of GTO are correct here. This is good. We're all in with ace 10. Our opponent calls, and then it was queen 9. I don't know why we're looking this up, but whatever. I think this is 100% push. Yeah, I mean, like 100%, right? Yeah, boom, job done. 8 deuce. So limp, and we check. 8 deuce is actually a combo we can raise big if we want. There's a bet, we call. Now, what did we learn in that previous situation? I think this is why we have this one marked. This is another 8 big blind, 9 big blind start, and we're shallow again. And remember, we were looking at those boards just a moment ago where it was like ace jack 3 or ace jack deuce or whatever, and we were check raising a lot. I wonder if this falls into that category. Now, ace king 8 is different than ace jack 3 or whatever it was, because the king is a combo that our opponents will actually have a lot more frequently and will value bet on this board. So as played, let's take a look, because we want to continue to learn the check raising here better. Yeah, okay, interesting. So it goes limp. Like I said, we can do some raising, we can do some checking. We check on the flop, bet. This is raise 2. So again, this is good enough for us to want to raise, min raise almost every single time here. So this is the strategy. And again, look at what we're supposed to be check raising here, guys. This is so crazy. 10-9, Jack 9, Queen 9. This is nuts, man. The min check raising on these textures is just off the charts. Now, again, I'm not saying that we're just supposed to parrot this, because if your game does not contain a balanced check raise here, it can be very easy to counter. However, the more that I see these spots, and we have really stumbled across more and more of these guys, the more I just think about how much this would just absolutely annihilate, right? Jack 6, Jack 6 of clubs, Jack 5. Okay, so anytime you see a quarter over here, it's because it's the flush draw. 32.7% of the time check raising. I suppose because we're using this min check raise size, like we do actually get away with it for so cheap, but I think it's something that will be really strong against regs and unknowns. Long story short, I think we need to be in there a lot more often. So we had 8 deuce on this occasion. We had 8 deuce with the club, the deuce of clubs. Having the deuce of clubs here, actually having a club at all makes the check raise even better. And I guess that makes sense, right? Because not only does it give us a backdoor potentially, but also it makes it less likely our opponents are betting a flush draw, which is probably bad for check raising an 8, right? We want to check raise the 8 and shut the hand down most of the time, as opposed to flat check raising and then our opponent calls with queen deuce of clubs or whatever, and then we're in big trouble. So again, very interesting. Another one that perhaps we could play aggressively. This is cool. Min raise call, bet raise call, shove folds. I think this is fine. I assume that this is okay. Could be completely wrong here. This is all good. Not too much science there. 8-6. We shove blind v blind. This is for 6 big blinds. Again, I don't think that there's any other way to play this. Hey, Panda, thank you very much for the follow. Yeah, it's close. Okay, cool. So mix fold, mix shove. How can that be the case, though? One sec. Let me pull this up, guys. 1 second. Oops. So this is the Nash range. These are the Nash heads up, push fold charts. These are free online, by the way, if you're interested. So if you guys don't know what this is basically a toy game where we have calculated at what stack depth you can push and or fold every single hand in Texas Hold'em, assuming that those are your only 2 options. So as we get shallow, knowing push fold is very useful. Poker is a very nuanced game, so actually learning push fold is very like level 1 stuff. However, if you do know this, it will make you a much better player, because you'll understand how you can make chips as you get shallower and where the cutoffs are for what you need to call with when your opponents are all in. So we start this hand at 6 big blinds effective, and 8-6 offsuit is a push at 7. So I am interested as to why this is sometimes a fold when it immediately is already 1 big blind above a 6 big blind push. I'm not sure if we're going to find answers necessarily, but I do feel like this is the move here. I do feel like that's interesting. So that must be the absolute break even though. So the way that it's been calculated, this is still pretty much at 0. And then these actually become more profitable. Anyway, cool. Queen 10, we limp. Our opponent raises, we call. On this board, they bet. We call on the turn. They bet. Now, looking at this again, I think this is probably going to be fine. I don't think we're allowed to check raise with Queen 10 here, even though we do have a gut shot on the flop, which is useful. Yeah, so on the turn, we might do some calling still, I imagine. Yeah, this is fine. Okay, cool. 8-4 suited. Limp raise call. So I want to double check that we do defend 8-4 suited here. This is against a reg. He makes a standard ISO. I'm pretty sure we have to call with almost all of our suited hands here, but let's take a look. Crush Equity says, is this what you're using right now? Is what you're using now the starter or the premium part? Does the starter tier have this HH review click and study feature? I'm not sure. Let me take a look for you, bud. So what this definitely has is you see down here. Actually, I'm not sure where it is. You can see here, I've actually got a number of credits for the amount that you can do this. So I do think, I'm pretty sure that the credits are something that are part of a higher tier. Let me see if I can find it for you, mate. I'm not affiliated with GTO Wizard, by the way, even though we were discussing business. I was actually 100% prepared to promote GTO Wizard, even though I do it for free anyway. But if I go here, maybe I can. No, okay, cool. You'll have to take a look at the page yourself. If you just go to the comparison page, you should be able to find it. I'm pretty sure that this is available at most tiers, but the number of actual uploads you have is limited. Perhaps, don't remember. They've made quite a few changes recently. So King 5 is the hand. All right, cool. So we limp. Our opponent checks. They lead. We call. On the turn, they lead big. We call with the combo draw. They shove. We fold. I think this is what we have to do. This one feels like pretty standard to me, even though it just looks awful and feels awful when you're actually playing. Yeah. So pre-flop call, fine. Check. Opponent leads. Yeah. So this is where it's kind of like unsolved, but calling mostly. Got a call. Yeah. Okay, cool. Easy game. Just a hand that feels like shit, but also, there you go. 5-3 of spades. We limp. This was the annoying hand that we were talking about earlier, guys. So we limp the 5-3 suited. This is going to be interesting because from a GTO perspective, I'm pretty sure that 5-3 suited is actually a fold here pre-flop. This guy was very passive. We were like, we were playing lots of pots post flop, and we were ultra shallow where he was giving me lots of walks. So this actually might be a blunder from the very start. I'm aware of that. However, as played, we end up here, check. He leads one, we call, and then we're here. Now, again, we might not learn anything from GTO Wizard because I'm pretty sure that already from the very start we've deviated, so that's not going to show us what we need to learn. However, like I said, when we arrive here, we started at such a shallow stack depth. I would say the likelihood that any opponent, not a reg, just anyone, a reg or a fish, the number of opponents that don't shove every single king here is very, very limited. Very, very limited. Just from personal experience, I know this is true. And then also I would go out on a limb and say the number of people that turn a 7 into a lead and then like a bluff or value shove river is very limited too. This guy is an unknown. He's going to do unknown things. He's going to do things that we don't anticipate. And sure enough, he has Queen 7 here. That's fine. Am I completely blown away by this? No, not at all. But if he turned up with a king, I would assume that our actual logic is much more flawed. In fact, even a 10. Like, what's interesting here is a random player is probably more likely to panic with a 7 than with a 10. Like, a lot of people have that weird sort of tendency where they're like, oh, I have quite a strong medium strength hand, I don't want to overplay it. But as soon as they have a weak medium hand, they suddenly are like, I don't know what to do, I'm going to panic, I got to do something proactive, and they do this. So anyway, we're going to plug it in. Like I said, I'm pretty sure 5-3 suited is just a fold pre-flop here, but we'll see. Yeah, so the pre-flop is just fold. It also might be the case that we're too shallow. Okay, I tell you what. Let's see how close we can get here. Wait, what? That's not the right one. It's weird. Heads up at 4.6. This is heads up at 5. What are they talking about? It was a bit less though, right? Okay, so actually just the jam, fine, that's cool. We're not quite here. We're like more here. Why is that one unsolved then? That's strange. Huh, okay, cool. Yeah, just the 5-3 jam then, never mind. Again, I think I prefer this against this random guy. It's hard to beat that though. Okay, cool. Fair enough, nice hand. So just the shove pre-flop. Here we go, we're all in with King Trey. Our opponent calls. We're dominated. It's pretty standard stuff, I think. I don't know why we're looking it up. Yeah, it's fine, obviously. King 10, min raise, opponent jams, we call. So this pre-flop is interesting. We have the asymmetrical stack sizes here. I think this is probably mandatory call. Let's take a look. If it's a mistake, it's because they want us to shove pre-flop or something. Okay, fair enough. They want us to fold here. Interesting. That's kind of blowing my mind. That's very unexpected. King 10 fold, King Jack call. It's that close. Wow, okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. That is unexpected. Jack deuce limp, check. Check, check. So again, I wouldn't be surprised if the jack is supposed to bet the flop for balance. And again, so we get check raised by the universe, but we call. We end up raising the turn and they shove. So the important point here, guys, is the pre-flop. This guy, this is the same unknown player we were talking about a moment ago. And he is still going to be subject to the same expectation that he's going to do unexpected things, right? But again, it is so standard, not just by poker pro professional standards or GTO wizard standards. It is so standard to expect players to play an ace aggressively, and it is something that permeates almost every poker player's psyche. So when we arrive here and we have a jack, we will almost always have the best hand. And when we arrive here and our opponent leads for 1, they will almost always never have an ace, but they will have a straight draw or a flush draw. And there's 2 flush draws out there, and there's, you know, a fair number of straight draws as well. But the double flush draw board for me is a good opportunity to raise. He shoves. At this point, we cannot rule out the fact that he's shoving 9-10 of spades or 7-10 of spades or whatever, right? So we call, and he turns up here with ace-4 of diamonds. Fine. This guy is an outlier. He's playing an ace unusually as we get shallower. That's okay. Let's see if we can learn anything from GTO Wizard. Again, I would be surprised if they probably want us to bet the flop. I would expect that. Okay, this is fine. So pre-flop, limp check on the flop, majority bet as expected, but the check obviously is not going to be bad. It's important that we look at these numbers too, guys, because again, if we are making deviations, if the deviations are relatively small in the difference that they are from EVBB of the best move, for the most part, it's something you can mix in, but also if you have a really good reason to do it, forget about GTO, just do it if you have a good reason. As played. Now, raise 3 is absolutely an option here. And when they jam, we got to call. Okay, this is fine. This is all good. I'm very, very happy with the way we play this hand. Good stuff. Ace 5, we are all in. We're shoving ace 5 because this guy is around 10 or 11 effective. This guy is deeper on the right hand side. For the most part, as this guy gets shallower, our shoves become more aggressive, but this might be too much. Let's take a look. It's ace 5. I mean, look, it's going to make profit. It's going to make chips. There you go. Boom. 7-5 suited, limp, and a check. And on this flop, okay, so what have we learned about these spots, guys? What have we learned about these spots? This is a limped pot. We started at 8.5 big blinds effective. Now, what are the characteristics of this board that we've been discussing? It is high card, low card, low card. We have a hand that really hates to see turns. And we have a circumstance where our opponent should be all in with a lot of his king X combos. So high card, ace, or a king, a lot of those high cards are going to be played aggressively pre-flop. So he's capped. So if what we were discussing earlier applies to king high boards, we don't know if it does. I'm not saying this for sure. What we have learned is we probably just want to check jam here, right? We probably just want to shove versus one big blind bet. That's my guess. We played it as a min check raise and we got shoved down and we folded. That's fine. Let's actually take a look. Let's see if this pattern persists. Let's see if we've learned the heuristics of this board texture or of similar board textures. Okay, so pre-flop, limp. We can do some raising. We can do some checking. That's fine. Obviously, on the flop, we're facing a one big blind bet. Oh, that's a shame. Okay, cool. So as played, we do actually reach for the correct line here. We do find the min raise instead. After this, we'll take a look at the ace high board because we're still learning this one, right? Facing a min raise, get shoved on. We're supposed to call. That's fine. I don't, whatever. This is what it is. I kind of thought that might be the case as well. Just out of interest though, let's go back. Let's just study the spot. Let's change the flop to ace 5-4 and see if that makes a difference. So this goes check. Small blind bets 1, big blind response. Okay, interesting. So we arrive here and okay. So instead of 9.5, because what we're trying to find is where the tipping point is here, right? This is not a tutorial at this point, guys. We're learning this together. If our expectations are not aligned here, what is it that's different? So the stack depth is considerably deeper. What if we change this to an 8 big blind stack like it was before? Okay, so the all-inning happens a lot more often. There you go. Okay. And that makes sense, right? Because it felt weird to see that we were check jamming 8 big blinds before, and that felt like it was already a bit too much. As soon as we go up to 9, however, we're just too deep stacked to play jams. There you go. 3.6% of the time. It's happening with the 5X though. This is happening. We have 7-5 of diamonds specifically. So let's go to 10. Yeah, so at 10, it's sort of is not as much of a thing. Now, the 5s are still sort of in there as a check jam, whatever, that's fine. But it seems like 8 and below is a bit more of the magic number for these check jams. Now, let's go back to our original solve. So let's go back to the king of spades. And let's see if we can break it now to 8. Okay, there it is. There it is. So the heuristic exists. However, we need to be careful because we were actually too deep. We were 9.5 big blinds effective. Now, I'm not saying that's what we did in real life, but there is the min check raise still at 9, whereas at 8, we're playing it as a jam. Not always. This is 5.7% of the entire deck, not 5.7% of the hands we're discussing. So spades obviously in there, blah, blah, blah. That's fine. 6-3 is in there, fine. All the 5s are in there, fine. Or tons of the 5s are in there. So 7-5 of diamonds is actually just going to be a check jam here at 8. If we were to look at where we were at 9.5 before, the 7.5, is it because of the limp check? Strat. Okay, so that's interesting. 7-5 suited, check. Well, we went too far here. 1 second, so check. Bet one. Oh, did we go too far along, actually, guys? 1 second. So this is the 7-5 suited. Raise it to fine. Okay, cool. We might have messed this one up. 1 second. So this is, that's at 9.5. Then let's go down to 8s. That's fine. No, it is the same. It is the same. We had it right. Cool. So this is really, 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 really positive. There is a relatively easily executable strategy that we are definitely underutilizing, and we have correctly identified the conditions where this is going to happen. And not just that, this is something that will probably persist through a lot of different situations that will happen at 8 big blinds and below. So if we take this down to 7 effective now, let's play it exactly the same. Let's say we arrive on the board with 7-5 of diamonds at 7 effective. And now the jamming is just all in there, right? We're shallow enough where basically we are allowed to check jam a huge chunk of any connection we have with this board, including the flush draws. 5x, some straight draws here as well. The 4x as well to a certain degree, I'm sure. 7-4 is a good one. There you go. So this is good. This is good. We're learning, we're improving. And in the modern game, in the current merged player pool, with Spin & Go Flash being the predominantly played format, these spots happen tons. So this will actually help a lot. All right, so Crush Equity says, do you ever play normal MTTs? I know spins are basically just condensed tournaments with all the same mechanics, but would be dope to watch you play full MTTs. So I absolutely, of course, have played MTTs. I've never played them professionally. I would never consider myself a professional MTT player. It's just been a format for me that I think it can be super fun. But as a professional, I was always looking for games like Cash, which were very slow and steady, or sit and goes, which actually were not slow and steady at all when it comes to spin and goes and that sort of thing. But you could play a lot of volume and you could be very, very specialized in those. So it wasn't that I was looking for slow and steady money. It was that I was looking for a format that I could really master and really feel like I had like complete control over. MTTs to me felt too much like gambling, which is exactly what somebody would say if they weren't very good at MTTs. Now, I think I'm probably a decent MTT player. I'm probably well above average, but all of that has stemmed from my experience playing sit and goes, traditional like 9-headed sit and goes, and then moving into spin and goes and heads up and stuff like that too. So I'm very specialized in tournaments. It's also probably fair to say that spin and goes aren't really condensed tournaments because of what we were discussing with the ICM implications. You know, the pay jumps make things very different. The strategies are very different as a result of that. But like I said, this will just make you a beast when it comes to playing blind v blind and button and small blind, big blind, that kind of thing. And then it can be very, very transferable into MTTs. The other thing that's funny about that story is part of the reason why I really shied away from MTTs is because my mom really hated the fact that I played poker in university. She really, really thought I had a major gambling problem. And trust me, guys, I've gambled a smidge. You might see me gambling on occasion, but I've never been somebody that was like super fascinated with roulette or blackjack or slot machines or anything like that. I gamble with my friends. Usually I don't gamble alone. I'll go out and I'll gamble with mates, and I find that enjoyable, the experience with your friends, but I don't tend to gamble on my own. Where am I going with this? So basically, because my mom was convinced I was a gambling addict, even though I don't think I really showed any of the sort of telltale signs of that, you know, like I wasn't, I suppose in the context of university where I was completely broke, I was always broke, but I was broke for different reasons for the most part, probably because I was partying and drinking too much and whatever. But anyway, my point is that I wanted to prove my parents wrong at all costs, and I really wanted to make poker a success, not necessarily my career. And as a result, I was trying to find formats where I could show consistent growth and consistency in general. And if you play it cash and you're good at cash, your graph tends to just go like this. And you're not going to get rich overnight usually. You don't win $1 million in 5 days or whatever, unless you're playing super high stakes and you're being crazy with your bankroll. And those games don't really necessarily exist in most places in the world, but you can consistently make a profit, and it goes like this. Sit and goes, the traditional sit and goes back in the day were the same. You could play 100 a day, 200 a day, whatever it was. You could multi-table. They all had the same format. You were knocking out loads of units, and it would go from here to here, and that's what that looked like. I wanted to be able to prove to my family and to my parents and to my mom in particular that like this wasn't just like a pipe dream. I'm good at poker, and it's a real thing. You can be good at poker. It's not just gambling. And so I kind of shied away from MTTs. Now, in the future, I think I will probably try and play more MTTs, but I do want to get a proper coach and get into it there. Having said that, I do imagine I'll probably be starting from, level 3. I forgot how many levels Pad says that he has, but somewhere in the middle. I can jump to the middle part because I'm probably already there. But I'm still here studying spin and goes. I've played like hundreds of thousands of spin and goes, hundreds of thousands. I've probably played at least 100,000 spin and goes in my life. Is that fair to say? What was my previous database? So this won't be all of it. Let me see what happens here. So I'm taking off the filter now. Taking off the filter now. Oh, I've got to go see the eclipse. Damn. What time is the eclipse here? Oh, come on, just do me a favor, fucking ChatGPT. 6:18. Oh, I gotta go soon. Okay. So this is 290. This is 290,000. Oh, I've got it here, guys. 1 second. I've got it here on my Instagram. So this was. So the graph that I posted was 16,000 games, and that was only a fraction. Let's say I've played 50,000 spin and goes in my life, whatever, right? It's probably a lot more than that. Even somebody who's played that much is still studying a very simple three-handed. It's always the same. Lots of the same spots come up. So tournaments and all that is challenging anyway. Okay, really quick. I gotta get going to watch the eclipse in a sec, but. One thing I'm noticing in these betting scenarios is the difference between 1 big blind and all-in and gem is under 0.1 big blinds and not 0.1 big blind a lot. Yes, no, that's very common, but also don't forget we're super short stacked, and that's in big blinds. 0.1 big blinds is actually a huge edge. But there are lots of spots that are marginal that are actually 0.02 or whatever, stuff like that. In the jam spots, though, you'd still want to take them because they add up very quickly, especially in spins. Crush says, you're a phenomenal teacher. This is better than almost all the coaching I got in 2010 before I quit. I hope people watching realize how valuable this is. Thank you. Appreciate that. And a flood of stuff is coming back listening to you and watching this. The EVBB numbers are making a lot of things click. How optimal and other options in general. Yeah, so you can look at those values, but remember that anything that's even approaching 0.1 big blinds, especially for like 9 big blinds effective, is actually massive. Like 0.1 big blind in the context of a 9 big blind pot is still a very considerable edge. You're not spamming, mate. I appreciate the conversation. All right, I'm going to wrap it up really quick, guys. More stream tomorrow at 2 p.m. I've got to go out and watch the solar eclipse. It's happening here in Brighton in 30 minutes. So I love you guys. More poker tomorrow, and we're going to continue to work on our graph. I'll leave you guys with this. This is 290,000 hands of spinning goes, and you guys can see that we're still working. We're still putting in the work. There will be a slant here because, of course, players have gotten significantly better, but also because at some point here, there was the transition to spin flash where the edge is smaller. But we'll leave it there, guys. Love you all very much. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Good luck at the tables, and I'll see you guys after the eclipse. Let's hope the eclipse